Elswick! All right, good morning. It's Friday. We made it through another week. That's good. Is there sure a chance of rain today, Val?
I don't know yet. I haven't looked at the weather yet. I'll look.
Okay.
And I'll give you a report here in a second.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I've got a special friend in the studio with me today. This is cool because we do radio together probably, about every 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, about every 4 or 5 years.
There we go. Yeah, it's about what we do. John Deering is here today. He is the, of course, political cartoonist over at the Dim Gas. He's the man behind Strange Brew, if you read comics. And Zach is the other strip that you do.
Mm-hmm. Zach Hill.
Yeah. How many papers carry Zach Hill?
A couple of hundred. And then it's on several platforms like Go Comics, Archamax, different platforms like that online.
Okay. I have a subscription to the Dim Gas, but they got to give me a new little flat screen thing to carry around so I can see it.
Oh, the pad.
I gave up the ghost. It won't take a charge now, so got to take it back to them. But Strange Brew, I remember back, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You were getting a little bit tired of doing it.
Yeah. Over time, you go through different phases with any kind of creative endeavor, and it sort of ebbs and flows. And I think, just to be honest, I think that it's not always going to be consistent. But then I picked up the mojo again and started, getting a little more gung ho about it again. Found some different ways to express that.
Yeah, let's be honest, John. Strange Brew, you got to be a little strange to do.
You got to be a lot strange, because one day it'll be like in a Sunday strip a couple of weeks ago. Aliens have abducted this poor guy, and one of them is holding this strange whirling device, and the alien is telling him. I guess they must have an English translator.
Right.
He's telling him, "How long since your last colonoscopy?" And so,
Only us old folks get that.
Yeah, it's relatable.
Right.
But now colonoscopy is the #1 cancer knocking off people your age.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's really weird. There's been a change in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Mother Nature does. Just when you think that you figured out how to defeat her in something, she'll do something else to you.
Survival of the fittest.
Switches up on you.
The survival of the fittest. Then how is Biden still alive?
Yeah, I want to know that. You're right. That boy, man, people, he's got puppets walking him.
Maybe
like
he's
he
not real.
fell down the stairs and broke his neck yet because they placed little placemats all over the floor for him to step on.
There's something in something in that ice cream.
It must be. There must be. It's truly though a case. I got this weird picture on my computer today. Have you seen this picture?
No.
It looks like, I
don't know if I want to see it.
You know how much I hate traffic circles.
Oh, I hate them too.
They've got a traffic circle going over a bay, it looks like.
Oh, somebody did that on purpose?
And I have no idea why there's a traffic circle.
Did Doc put that on there for you?
That would have been a lot cheaper to do just straight road going across.
Oh, that's like in Perdido. It's ridiculous.
That? Oh, my gosh.
We complained for like a year in Perdido because of the traffic circle. Like when you go around, you just go around the curve and there's the beaches. And like everyone just doesn't go.
So
it stopped the flow of traffic and it goes up over the bridge and then down the other street. Like I said, past my house.
Well, this has got it's two straightaways coming into a circle that is built up around, I'm going to say it looks like a river. around the river. It's built over the river.
Isn't it just stupid?
It's not like you can get off in the circle.
Right.
Somebody must have gotten a good contract for that.
Right.
Or-
Let's just do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't think that one through. They had to use the money.
They must. I bet you the architect of this is from Minnesota.
Maybe. Or from Arkansas.
I bet you any money.
Because they put one over by the zoo, and that's nonsense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, they're doing the circle thing is a big thing now. Everybody's doing it. Conway
Hate them.
has a billion circles.
No,
now.
but then you need to teach people how to use them because these people are stupid. I'm sorry if you're
Look,
listening. I'm sorry if you're
look.
one of the people that don't go in traffic circle. You got to go.
It's easy. I mean, if the French can do it, we can do it.
I can do it.
That's what
You can do it.
that's what
John
I
can
would-
probably do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
But most people they just and you know, like in Perdido, that's where all the tourists go. They don't. It's like every state doesn't know how to use a traffic circle. Like it's literally they'll just sit there. It says yield on every one of them, right? But then you
Yeah.
got people that just go boom, 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 and then you got people that just be like, "I'm just gonna sit here
Yeah.
until it's clear." 50 cars.
Or refuse
Later,
to
you get to
take
go.
their rightful exit and just keep going around
Yeah, they
and
just
around and
in the
around.
circle.
Yeah.
Hey, I did that in Tampa. I don't know if you've ever been to Tampa, downtown Tampa by Clearwater. I go every year for a conference, and me and my son this year when we went, we were like, we didn't have to go around twice this year because we remember because there's 2 lanes
Yeah.
and you don't know which one to get on to go to Pier 60, and it was like, and me and my son were both like, yay, we didn't have to do it twice.
So you're proud of yourself.
Yes, because when you go, because it's like
You know that you make me proud because you grab victory wherever you can find it.
I sure do.
There's
Hey,
there's
when they-
treasure everywhere.
When they
That's right.
call you the darkest blonde. That's what they call me at my marina in Florida. I'm the smartest dumb person you'll ever meet. That's what I always
Nah,
tell
you're-
people.
You're
I'll say
about that.
stuff though. Stuff pops out my mouth and I don't even think about it. And then I'm like, what did I just say that for?
I like Perdido Key though.
Oh, I love it there.
Even with the traffic circle.
Love it there. Oh, have you been? You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about
Yeah,
lately? It's so. I live my house there. I live here now, but I mean I'm back and forth.
You're
but
moving.
yes, well I'm keeping that down there, but because it's you never know when I gotta run.
Okay.
You know, sometimes bullets chase me. I don't know.
You have a go bag ready.
Yes, exactly. But I live, you know, so I'm trying to think of if you know, what's the grocery store? Gosh, I have been gone 2 months. I can't remember the grocery store.
Public.
No, Publix is the one past the light.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it's the Winn-Dixie.
Oh, okay.
I live close to the Winn-Dixie, and that road gets so backed up. Like I live on Gulf Beach Highway, and that's a local road. Most of the tourists use Sorrento because that just comes straight from Pensacola.
Mm-hmm.
But Gulf Beach Highway is like the locals and all the marinas and stuff in the bay.
So Sorrento is like 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's worse.
all right.
They're supposed to be making it a 4-lane, but it's awful. I mean, like I said, during the summertime and then spring coming up, I mean, literally, I need a golf cart just to get out of my.
Spring break.
Yeah. I need a golf cart just to get out down the street to the store because I will sit there in my neighborhood to
And
can't even
college
get out.
kids are going to have to go back to Florida because God only knows you don't want to go to Mexico.
Oh my gosh.
no.
Right? So, you know, and they Panama City's they're trying to change that whole we're the party city now, but I don't know if nobody can go to Mexico right now. They might have to.
Well, I don't go, I go every year. I go to Panama City and spend 2 weeks there. But here's the key. I go the day after Labor Day.
Yeah, that's the best time to go.
That's when
I tell
everybody
everyone.
has left.
Yeah, September's the best time because you have the beaches all to yourself. There's no traffic.
I like Pensacola Beach.
Yeah, I like Pensacola Beach too.
Yeah.
I like the sand is just
That's cool because
lighter.
you watched, now you can watch the F-35s fly around.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot, I see the
I
Blue
love that
Angels
stuff.
every Tuesday and
Well,
Thursday.
that's where they're.
I
that's
go down
where
to my
they're
boat
located at.
marina. They fly over and they do their tricks. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing. And like we were out door knocking for Bo Renshaw the other day, and they're over in North Little Rock, closer to the base.
Mhm.
You know, at the end, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, look at that! Look at that!" I didn't think anything of it because I'm just so used to the Blue Angels every morning. flying over the house. I'd be doing a Zoom call for work and
Yeah,
like, hold on a second, Blue Angels.
I hear the jets ever so often, but typically,
Well, yeah, you're in Cabot.
where I live up there in Cabot, I hear the C-130s going, the J model.
And it kind of doesn't phase you anymore after you hear it all the
Oh
time.
no, it never phased me. I was in the Air Force.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And I was on a SAC base all the time that I was in the Air Force. So I was by the big B-52s all the time.
My Aunt Imogene, who lived in Fort Worth, right near the air base.
Oh, nice.
We'd go to her house and visit. This was way back in the 60s, early 70s. And the planes flying over would shake the whole house.
Oh, yeah.
Rattle the dishes,
Oh, yeah.
And she was not phased by it. She was just totally used to it.
Just hold them there.
It's the same thing if you grew up in a house next to railroad tracks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hold on a second.
And it's funny.
My grandpa. Hold on a second, baby. Let train go by.
Yeah. That's what dinner conversation was.
The old
If
67.
the train came by while you were talking, you just stopped talking for a moment, let it get by. At least let the engines get by.
No, we lived right over the railroad track.
The clickety clack, that didn't bother me at all. Yeah. That's no big deal. And you sleep through it.
You learn how to respect a train. That's for sure. When you live by them.
Well,
you stop at those crossings.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you figure out how much power there is in one of those locomotives when they're pulling. Let's say they got 3 locomotives hooked up together, and they're pulling 180 cars.
Mm-hmm.
That is a lot of weight, folks.
And it's not going to stop.
No. My uncle.
Yeah, I don't think it's going. It's not like you're in the car and you jam on the brakes. It doesn't work that way.
No, my uncle. Every time we would go visit my grandpa, my uncle would be down there and he'd be like, let me go check the crossing. He'd be up there, he'd be like, come on. Every time. Never failed. It was
Well, John, what's on your meter as you're looking at doing political commentary now through the the artwork that you do?
Just the midterms coming up.
Oh, okay.
The whole situation in Texas is certainly interesting.
I bet that's good to draw about. Cartoon. What do you call it? How do you cartoon?
Political cartoons.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like, it's a little like changing channels on the radio, literally. when you're creating a comic strip or a comic panel versus creating a political cartoon, it's different forms of expression, different information you bring to it, sometimes different BS you bring to it. It just depends. But with Strange Brew, I'm usually bringing in pop culture, wackiness. Political cartoons, it's supposed to be more serious.
How'd you get into that?
Well, I was a fine arts major in college. But I was always drawing.
And he needed a job.
And I needed a job.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like, I was a philosophy major. So a job opening came up at the Democrat, and this was back in 1981.
When there were 2 newspapers in the city.
When there were 2 newspapers. And this was in the advertising department, doing layout and paste up. So I was working in there from March of 81 until July of 81. John Kennedy and I became friends. I'd go up and see what they were doing up on the 2nd floor, just because it was fascinating. I saw them drawing these cartoons. I'd never actually seen anybody do that. So I started submitting cartoon portfolios, and one afternoon he came down to talk to me because he actually had he was stumped for a cartoon idea for the next day, and he was wanting to do something on Bill Beaumont.
Okay.
Judge Bill Beaumont. So about 5 minutes before he came downstairs to talk to me, an X-Acto knife rolled off the table and landed in my knee.
Oh.
So I'm bent over, hobbling to the restroom to put a paper towel on it.
Yeah.
He comes by and says, "Hey, what's going on?" I just nothing,
I just impaled myself.
Yeah. So he asked for a cartoon idea, and I did a rough sketch, and he incorporated it into his cartoon. And then he said, I'd like to talk to you. We're going to have some openings in the editorial department, and would you be interested in coming up? That was in July of 81, and went to work there in 81, and
The rest is history.
The rest, as they say,
That's pretty cool.
That's
pretty
the
cool.
way it was.
Yeah. Too bad Uncle Walt's not still around. I could have got that voice bite to play right there. It would have been great. All right, let's get our first break in. It's 7:20 on a Friday morning. There is a slight chance of rain, about 20% chance. That looks like it's.
Did you look? Yeah, I've got 62 degrees, mostly cloudy.
Okay, there you got. There was some rain that came through early this morning, evidently, and that cloud bank was well on its way to the east when I left for work. So, bottom line, looks like it's going to be in the upper 70s today and a pretty nice day.
And tomorrow it's supposed to be 60% chance of rain.
Okay, so tomorrow, they're going to wait till Saturday to ruin our weekend.
Of course.
Of
course, right while we're in the middle of doing something fun, too.
Yeah, doing something fun. And now we won't be able to do it. All right, let's take a break. Then we'll be back with more. John Deering is my special guest. You hear him all the time on the political page of the Dim Gas.
You hear him?
Yeah, you hear him. He puts you don't have to read the words of his cartoons.
Right.
You just look at it. It's like I know John well enough. I know how his voice sounds, and I hear his voice.
If it wasn't for cartoons, some people wouldn't even know how to.
When a cartoon falls in the forest, does it make a sound?
Good philosophical question. I like that. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
We just kind of knew from the beginning that we were family.
They
it's good to have you
showcase a
back
sense
in
of
the
love
studio.
that I never had before. I mean, he's not only my parent, like he's like my best friend.
At the end of the day, it's all been worth it. I wouldn't change a thing about our lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council. We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age. Everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America is at a tipping point. To ensure we stay the land of the free and home of the brave, you need to be informed and engaged. That's why we're here. 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. The Dave Elswick Show is back. 101.1 The Answer.
All right, back with you here on the Dave Elswick Show, 24 minutes after 7. Don't forget, coming up after 8, Robert Steinbach will be with us, and we'll see what he's got in his column in the Dim Gas today, and he'll talk about that, and we'll talk about other things that are going on. Somehow, I think we'll get the word Iran into the
he'll probably be ranting Iran
into the conversation today. Anything going on in Iran? Just a little bit. More from our end, because the Iranians really are having a problem now.
I saw that the Crown Prince, exiled Crown Prince, is saying he's going to take it back. He's in line, and they're not going to accept any kind of anybody they put forth.
Well, I don't blame them. Yeah. Why would you why would you go back and have an Islamic Republic again? I mean, they've been chanting when they were killing 30,000 of them a few months ago. They were chanting Islam, no, democracy, yes, Now, I don't want them to see them go into a pure democracy. I want to I want to see them.
He wants it to be a
republic.
democracy. Or, well, a republic, but he would be the leader. He don't want to be the crown prince per se, like a king, queen kind of thing, but he wants it to be kind of more democratic.
Well, let the people vote on something like, do you want to vote? Yeah.
He's the Shah's son, so
yeah, I know.
So for 47 years, so what he must have been. He looks like he's in his 60s, so he must have been in his 20s when they got exiled.
I know that he wants to bring baseball to Iran.
Oh, I bet.
I'm just kidding. I don't know if he wants.
Well, he grew up in America a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was talking about that the other year. John remembers is when America, their sport was baseball.
Yeah.
Now it's not that way. It's more football than it is baseball.
That was the national pastime.
It
seems
really
like
was.
Seems like it's abusing women, if you ask me.
As far as football is.
No, their pastime.
Oh,
it's their pastime.
Making women wear burqas, and that just bothers me.
Over in Iran?
Yeah, anywhere. It bothers me here. It bothers me.
I told you the story about why they wore burqas, right?
Yeah, but I think it's just because those Muslim men are insecure about anybody seeing their woman.
Yeah, but if you got the money, if you happen to have an oil well in your backyard and you get some money, then you don't want anybody bothering your wife.
Doesn't bother them in Texas. They run around skippity-doo.
We have this discussion all the time. Paul Calvert and I have it on the air, and that's still a tribal area of the world, and that's why democracy has not, or a republic like what the United States hasn't caught on.
It's just a totally different culture, and I think to make inroads, we have to understand that. One thing that I've thought about over the last week or so is that what's happening there now is really sort of a reckoning that's been about 50 years coming.
In the making. Yeah, no kidding.
Because when I was living in Fort Worth, Texas, and that was when Nightline first started coming on.
Peter Jennings,
because of the Iran crisis and the way that was dealt with, or the way it wasn't dealt with.
I could just hear him saying that in my head. I used to watch it with my grandpa.
Yeah.
And when he first started, he'd say it and then take a drag off his cigarette.
No, that was at what's his name?
Jennings smoked like a chimney.
Not on the TV though.
But he smoked like a chimney.
That was what's his name? Ed.
Are you thinking of Edward R. Murrow?
Murrow, yes, yeah. Murrow.
I'm not going back that far.
But yeah, Peter,
well, I do because I was a broadcast major.
Peter Jennings started smoking again after 9/11, and smoking heavily. He had stopped, and just the stress, whatever of covering it, he started smoking again, and I guess that's what got him.
Okay. I think he's one of the last.
With lung cancer, they killed him.
Yeah.
He's one of the last respected of the old, the old guard. Like Dan Rather just ruined himself when he lied about Bush. Like there was a whole lot of going on there, and showed his Peter Jennings. I would still respect him. Like when that's how I feel. Yeah. And Barbara Walters, she showed herself with The View.
Well, the View that is today was not the View that Walters
she started, right?
It.
But still,
she really wanted to have a talk show that people could voice their views on without being dissected live and on the air.
And look what happened.
The Democrats took over. What can I tell you? All right, let's take a break. We got some opinion that we got to get to, and then we'll be back in just a moment. John Deering is my guest here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, homeowners, when is the last time you checked your home title? Scammers are everywhere, and they're targeting your equity. With just a single forged document, they can file at the county. So don't wait until it's too late. Find out if you are already a victim today. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use the promo code BILL to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. On this Friday, if you can believe it, there are Americans rooting against their own country in the Iranian military action situation. I am just flabbergasted, word of the day, that you can be an American citizen and hate the president so much that you root for killers to, I don't know about defeat, but to stalemate your own country. The worst I've seen is Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut, who's an absolute Trump hater, a fanatical radical leftist. How Connecticut could elect a guy like this is beyond belief. Here's what he said, quote, "The president is intentionally tanking our economy. He's the most corrupt president in the history of our nation. Americans want him to focus on a crisis here at home. Instead, he's busy getting us involved in quagmires overseas that already are becoming deadly to American soldiers. This is a disaster." Okay, so Murphy wants a bad outcome for the Trump administration in Iran. That's what he wants, so that he can pound Trump more. This puts politics over the welfare of Americans, because the mullahs are vicious killers, and if they could kill you and me, they would. Somebody tell Senator Murphy. Back in a moment. More Americans are switching to all family pharmacy because getting medication should not depend on your insurance company telling you no. If you already know what works for you and want real medical freedom, you have to choose the right pharmacy. All family pharmacy handles everything, including the doctor's prescription, ships right to your door. So please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/bill, use code BILL10, save 10% on your next order. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. For more news and honest analysis, please go to BillO'Reilly.com. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Larry Elder reacts to Trump's State of the Union.
The whole point was to talk about his accomplishments, talk about how the economy is doing now, how it's going to be doing down the road, what the benefits will be of the big, beautiful bill, all of which he accomplished. And I'll tell you, I knew it was going to be long. I thought it was going to be too long, but I enjoyed every single minute of it.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 6, right before Hugh Hewitt at 9 on 101.1. The Answer. We bring you the biggest news stories of the day, not to tell you what to think, but to allow you to have the most information so you can make up your mind. 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. The conservative voice of Arkansas, The Dave Elswick Show on 101.1, The Answer.
Let's get back to it. 7:35 now on Friday. John, I was just talking to Darian off the air. Does it not drive you crazy the way the young people talk about fascism and Hitler and Nazis and all of that? And it's very obvious they don't even have a freaking clue what they're talking about.
Yeah, there's the old saying, well, it's not that old, but that when you've raised the specter of Nazism, you've lost the argument, because you're not seen as
It's the truth.
You're not being serious, because it's all a matter of perspective, and you can't really compare those times with now. It's two different things. The scale of World War II, and I lost one uncle and almost lost two others in World War II, is totally different from anything that we've seen, and hopefully anything we're likely to see in our lifetimes. But I think that young people see a picture in a book, or they'll see old video online or old photos online, and they try to find connections with the current history. And in some regard, you can't blame them, but there really needs to be more education about what really went on then.
It'd be nice if they would teach history, at least include the World War II in it.
Yeah, one problem that, just in my opinion, that I've seen with the way that history is taught is, it seems like that we get entrenched in these narratives that always follow the same tracks. For instance, I have no idea right now if the Vietnam War or anything covered in the last 50 or 60 years is really covered in depth in history class. They really only touch on just some of the main events from World War II, but I think that maybe educators worry that there's just too much material to cover, so they only cover some of these main events and just skip over everything in between. How we got to that point, how we're getting to certain situations we're in now, and that's where I think there's these big gaps where kids sort of fill in the gaps themselves,
and typically are wrong.
And that's the way and typically are wrong. I think that's the way our mind works. We tend to fill in the gaps with what we think we know. But as Donald Rumsfeld said, you don't know what you don't know.
That's exactly right. I had him on the air and he said that to me. And I'll never forget that. Just about every talk show host that they had a number on, and I was lucky enough to get there. And I'll never forget just flying into D.C. at that time. When you got within 30 minutes of D.C., you could not leave your seat in the plane.
Yeah.
And they said right from the front, and this is Southwest, all right? This is the Southwest that used to roll beer down the aisle to the passengers. And, they made the statement, if you stand up and don't sit right back down, we will shoot you.
Yeah.
I mean, everything had changed. I mean, it had pivoted already.
Just
it was
overnight.
Really amazing. It was real amazing. And so I went and did that, and Rumsfeld was one of the guys that I was lucky enough to get on the air. And he said just that. I mean, that's one of his, you don't know what you don't know until it happens.
I've quoted that around my family to the point that they get annoyed. Good Lord.
But it's the truth.
It is true.
It's the truth. You don't know what you don't know. The piece of history that I keep telling people about is Neville Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole peace in our time, and how he had gotten that big peace plan all signed from Hitler, and he landed in London and was heading over to talk to the prime minister, and lo and behold, Hitler invaded Poland.
Appeasement.
Yeah. That's what we've been doing for 47 years with Iran.
Yeah. And that is a problem that I have with the current administration. I feel like that the same level of support that we're giving the Iranian people, we should be providing for Ukrainians. They have their own problems, but I feel like Russia is a bigger threat.
Oh, they got the nukes.
Everybody ridiculed Mitt Romney, including Barack Obama.
Yeah, they did when they had that debate.
When he said that the biggest current threat was Russia. I thought that was somewhat off the wall, but boy, was he right.
Well, he probably had sat in on a few briefings.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell people. If you ever were elected president, the first time that you sat down and got a briefing from all the intelligence agencies and you knew what was really happening in the world, number one, you would go to the bathroom to clean yourself up. Yeah. And number two, you would understand that everything just changed in your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, over the years, it's been really interesting to read how many times we've supposedly come close to World War III, and we didn't know it at the time. We found out, 15, 20 years later. But yeah, it would be really something to be a fly on the wall during one of those briefings.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall right now during the Trump administration, because he's doing a lot of right things. I mean, imposing the Monroe Doctrine again in our hemisphere is the right thing to do. You can't just let the Chinese waltz into our hemisphere and have runways close to our country.
Yeah, they're building islands, literally building islands in the Pacific, and those are going to be staging areas. And also, though, I think that we have to do a better job of meeting them technologically, because just the electric car market, things like that. Those are all just platforms for them to gain more power, and I think we have to look at that also.
When you're president, you should listen to the visionaries of the people that are living during your time. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you, Elon Musk is a visionary. And when Biden came out and he started talking about people should buy electric cars and all of that, and he would have benefited from that big time at that time.
Yeah.
He basically said, we're not ready for making the electric car the way that the Democrats are wanting to do it. We can't take care of it. We can't make the power necessary to let people charge their cars and stuff. And Biden's administration didn't listen. I don't know if the price of an internal combustion engine car will ever come down again. I mean, they pushed it to the brink already.
Yeah, it's already pushed to the brink. And yeah, if the Biden administration had listened to Musk,
they might still have the White House.
They might. And for Musk's part, I think largely, like a lot of industrialists and techno geeks, he's probably largely apolitical. He just wants to anyone who will help him achieve his vision. That's who he's gonna support.
Does it seem to you that when he speaks, a lot of times I kind of watch him and you can see the gears spinning in his brain. You really can. Mm-hmm. And you get this situation where he's looking at the Democrats and saying, a man can be a woman. How stupid are you? Kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. Well, you've listened to my show a lot. You know that I have problems. I don't have a filter, and I'll say what I think. And that's one of the things that I say what I think, and that is, if you're a man, you can't become a woman. I like what J.K. Rowling said, and I quote her often, and that is that being a woman is more than wearing a costume.
Well, I have family members in the medical profession who have pretty strong opinions about that.
Uh-huh.
And it all sort of comes from actually paying attention in biology 101.
Really?
So
that's the truth. I mean, some of the things they've been arguing in front of the Supreme Court, John, did you ever in your wildest, you would probably put it in a Strange Brew comic if you had some guy in front of the Supreme Court looking, saying, yes, a man can menstruate.
Well, I've done some cartoons with men's and women's restrooms. The little icons on the door.
Oh, the placard that they have on the door.
It's you can't get too much into that in a single panel cartoon strip, but there are ways to just show the bizarre nature of that whole argument.
Yeah, you put a woman's sign up on one door and a men's sign on the other, and the one of the icon that's wearing a dress, you can put them on both ones.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so figure this out. You're really screwing with people.
Yeah, I can't use the men's room. What's up with that?
As far as that. Well, I've
cut my hair off.
Nor would you want to.
No.
Yeah,
Well, actually,
that's
women
right.
are more disgusting. I swear to you, they're gross.
Yeah, I haven't.
Speaking of what you were talking about before, just before this, the PMS part.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Women are disgusting.
Well, you know what my joke is about. What's the difference between a terrorist and a woman who's got PMS? You can negotiate with a terrorist.
You should make one. You might get phone calls on that one, John, though, from women, but that'd be a good cartoon to make.
Yeah.
Where do you come up with your ideas? I mean, do you draw every day now? Still?
Every day. And,
Okay.
And that includes
That's a lot of pressure, man.
Yeah.
that includes Saturday and some Sundays. Well, after a while it becomes like just a dialogue. And if you do draw every day, like I can tell if I have taken a couple of days off for whatever reason. I feel a little bit rusty when I get back to the drawing board, but drawing every single day
Keep you sharp, huh?
It's a one-way conversation, but it is a dialogue with readers. And
I'm sure they write back to you.
oh yeah, which is great because on our op-ed page, people get to voice their opinions. I feel like I'm very fortunate to have what the late George Fisher called a window. That was his window where he could express himself in the Gazette, and that's what it is. And it's a real privilege that I don't take for granted. But generally, I'll just start watching the news first thing in the morning. Sometimes 4 or 5. Do a lot of reading. Most of the reading that I do now is on my smartphone. It's as opposed to going.
And my phone is smart, man. I can tell you that.
It's smarter than I am. You used to go down to the newsstand or take subscriptions to a bunch of different newspapers. Now I go to aggregator sites, and I can just scroll through, see what the news is, and find some good opinion pieces to delve into, and start drawing. And I do my cartoons the way, at least the political cartoons, I do those the way that we used to do them 50, 100 years ago, ink on paper. I don't use a computer.
Oh, really?
For that.
That's interesting.
Sometimes it's enhanced a little bit. Once it's scanned in, it'll be enhanced color-wise or darkened a little bit. But I still do acrylic paintings and watercolor paintings on watercolor paper for the editorial cartoons.
Full disclosure, in the Dave Elswick household, over my fireplace, there's a huge picture that was done by John Deering.
I was going to ask you how that's holding up.
It's holding up well. It is right there. It has never left my wall.
Great.
I mean, I'll never forget. I had talked to you about it, and nothing ever showed up. And I thought, well, he's busy. I understand that. And I walked in one morning, and they said, "Hey, Dave, somebody delivered something for you." And I walked over, and I saw this piece of. I could tell it was a picture. It was covered in butcher paper, and I said, "Oh, this is from John." Because you asked me who my favorite artist was, And I said Pollock.
Yeah.
And you got kind of excited because you were looking forward to working in all those different mediums that Pollock used to do. And John did what I would call a modern piece of art. And, he did stuff where you just kind of dump a medium on the canvas and things of that nature. It's very good, man. I love that piece of art.
Some of it was 36 by 48 on canvas, and some of that, the top layer was actually epoxy resin. It's a 2-part epoxy that I mixed together and then put into a tube and just dripped it from a height over the top of the canvas. Had to practice a little bit to get the right thickness and everything, but that was a really fun process.
Did you have the big plaster trying to think, a brush, and you dipped it in the paint and splattered it across?
Yeah.
That must have been liberating, man.
And messy. If you look at Jackson Pollock's paintings, they're not as random as some people assume, because he would always start with dark, heavier lines and put lighter, thinner lines over the top of that. So he had a basis or a foundation to drip this other paint. It wasn't just random. It was a process.
Yeah, he was a great artist. Terrible human being, but a great artist.
Not a great person. Not a very good driver.
No. He was a serial adulterer as well.
Don't drink and drive.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to break in, and then we'll come back. We'll finish up our conversation with John Deering here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Something big is happening, and you need to be in the know. Operation Epic Fury is here, and the only place to get all the details. Stay tuned and listen closely for updates on Operation Epic Fury on 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
101.1 The Answer. Weather.
A slight chance of rain today, otherwise cloudy and a high of 80. Then it's scheduled to rain all day long tomorrow and a 50-50 shot on Sunday.
The Dave Elswick Show continues now. 101.1 The Answer.
Okay, I'm trying to think. I'll just say it's either Netflix or Prime. It's one or the other. Just go to the search bar and
what you're looking for.
I'm telling Val. I'm telling him about The Offer.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm still stuck on the
John's
monsters.
going to love that. He's going. Are you a big fan of the Godfather series?
Absolutely.
Okay, you're going to love it.
1 and 2.
Yeah. Well, they were the best. There's no doubt about it. You got one that was the best movie ever made, and you got the second one, best sequel ever made. I mean, it was really great, and it's got De Niro in it, and I hate him now, but anyway, because he's crazy. But bottom line is that he was really good in that movie.
There's just an aside. There's a really funny little bit in the miniseries 11/22/63, the Stephen King novel about the guy that travels back in time. And I think James Franco plays the main character who travels back. So a woman that is at the school that he's teaching at realizes he doesn't really have the credentials he's supposed to have, because he's from the 2000s. This is 1960. And he makes up this story and says, well, actually, I'm in the witness protection program. And she says, what's that? And he makes up this story from Godfather 2. And he says, well, I witnessed a killing. This guy named Michael Corleone killed a friend of mine, Fredo, on Lake Tahoe. And she's just baffled because, he's making up all these details.
Yeah. I got to tell you, that is when you watch 2, and 2 is more layered than even 1 was.
Yeah.
And Coppola and the writer of The Godfather, they were very clear when they did The Godfather that they couldn't get the whole book into one movie. So that whole backstory was what they wanted to do in the second movie. Coppola knew it was going to be a hit. He just knew it was going to be a hit. And I agree. I remember how big of a hit it was.
And they got some pushback from the mob at the time.
That's what the offer. And I was just telling him about this. This guy had to deal with the mob to be able to shoot in New York City.
Yeah.
And Coppola is one of those guys you want to go to the real place if you can and shoot the scenes and stuff. So they found the house that they wanted to use, and the guy had agreed to it, and they got to within 2 days of shooting, and all of a sudden he calls up, so can't use the house.
Wow.
And evidently the mob had called him and made him an offer he couldn't refuse. And then he refused him, and he went ahead and let him shoot the movie there. But I was telling you during the break, Joe Colombo became really good friends with the producer. Ruddy is his last name. And it's his recollections that they used to do the offer. I wish you would write a book, so I could sit down and read it, because it would be more specific in it, and really interesting.
That'd be
really, really interesting.
I'll catch that.
Yeah, you'll like it. You'll like it a lot. And a lot of people, things have really changed a lot. People don't. You and I could do a show about what we've seen. Over the last 40 years. And it's incredible. It really is incredible.
Just how much cars have changed.
Then that's no kidding. Yeah. I try to tell people there's no real personality to automobiles anymore. Used to be, cars had their own personalities.
Mm-hmm.
You could look at the rear end of a car and you knew what kind of car it was by how big the fins were on it, things of that nature.
And you could pop the hood and actually look down through the engine and see the ground.
Yeah.
That was something.
Not that. I'm amazed that I had that 69 Dodge Charger with the 440 in it.
Oh.
And I remember opening up the hood of that, and you couldn't put a piece of paper through the engine compartment because it was so full. And now they make little 6-cylinder engines with a turbo booster on it that does everything. All right. John, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Scout handshake.
We'll get you back in. All right. We're going to take a break.
Thanks
Here's your news.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. February saw more job cuts than analysts had been expecting. The Labor Department says employers shed 92,000 employees last month. The unemployment rate holding steady at 4.4%. The southern suburbs of Beirut tremble beneath thunderous Israeli fire as the Israelis go after Iran's proxy, Hezbollah, in the Lebanese capital. The U.S.-Israel war on Iran is now a week old, and President Trump has high hopes for the Iranian people once Operation Epic Fury wraps up.
There's much better future for Iran. It's now beginning. It's going to be, I think, a great future, and the United States will ensure that whoever leads the country next, Iran will not threaten America or its neighbors, Israel, anybody.
Mr. Trump says what's left of the Iranian leadership is desperate to make a deal, but the president says they have their chance. Time for talk is over. 4 men under arrest in the UK on suspicion of spying for Iran.
The Metropolitan Police say the suspects, 1 Iranian and 3 dual British-Iranian nationals, were taken into custody on suspicion of assisting a foreign intelligence service. The men are suspected of spying on locations and individuals. 6 other men were also arrested in Harrow, West London, on suspicion of assisting an offender, and they've been taken into custody too. Commander Helen Flanagan, who's in charge of counter-terrorism policing in London, tells the media, "We understand the public may be concerned, in particular the Jewish community. And as always, I would ask them to remain vigilant, and if they see or hear anything that concerns them, contact us. Searches are ongoing at the suspects' addresses as well as other properties nearby." I'm Charles Philadelphia.
Oklahoma Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin, President Trump's choice for Homeland Security Secretary. Mr. Trump fired DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures down almost 600 points. NASDAQ futures off 376. Townhall.com. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. I've always been a strong believer in precious metals investment, and I've always been fascinated with rare coin collecting. But owning the wrong coins that only make dealers a lot of money can be catastrophic for your investment portfolio. AmFed Coin and Bullion specializes in taking people out of non-performing coin portfolios and turning them into gold, silver, or platinum bullion. They tailor a portfolio based on your goals and not what they want to sell you. You'll never experience scare tactics, misleading hype, or high-pressure sales from owner Nick Grovich and his very knowledgeable staff. They will evaluate your portfolio, show you how your coins have performed, and take the time to educate you on the ugly industry practices so that you can make an informed decision. Smart people can make very bad investments when they're under pressure and lack the facts. Call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com. The Pentagon has classified AI firm Anthropic a supply chain risk. Stems from the company's refusal to grant the Department of Defense broad use of its technology.
The designation by the Pentagon takes effect immediately and marks the first time the U.S. government has classified an American firm as a supply chain risk. The Pentagon said the military will, quote, not allow a vendor to insert itself into the chain of command by restricting the lawful use of a critical capability and put our warfighters at risk. At issue was whether the U.S. Department of Defense could use Anthropic's Claude AI model for mass domestic surveillance or targeting decisions made without human intervention. Those were red lines drawn by Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei.
The BBC's Lily Jamali. Indonesia will ban social media for kids under the age of 16. The government regulation means the under 16 crowd can no longer have accounts at high-risk digital platforms. News and analysis, townhall.com. It's that time of year again, daylight saving time. Clocks spring ahead 1 hour, 2 a.m. Sunday in most of the U.S. For many, it throws off sleep schedules, plunges early morning dog walks into darkness, inspires millions of complaints. So what about permanent daylight saving time? Kenneth Wright with the University of Colorado.
When we're looking at people being on permanent daily saving time, that actually changes our relationship to the sun. And in particular, what that means is if we're on permanent daylight saving time, we're going to have many more dark mornings. People will be driving to work. Children will be standing there for the bus or walking to school in the dark. And it can increase that by more than 100 days compared to what we currently do right now.
No clear consensus about what to do, and every solution will still leave millions of Americans in the dark later in the morning or earlier in the evening than they would like for a chunk of the year. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Up in Your Business with Carrie McCoy, a production of flagandbanner.com.
Through storytelling, conversational interviews, and Carrie's natural curiosity, this weekly radio show and podcast offers listeners an insider's view into the commonalities of entrepreneurs, athletes, medical professionals, politicians, and other successful people, all sharing their stories of success and the ups and downs of risk-taking.
Up in Your Business with Carrie McCoy. Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at 10 on 101.1 The Answer.
All right, 6 after 8. My thanks to John Deering for stopping by. He's been a friend for many, many years. You'll remember we used to have T-shirts for the Dave Elswick Show, and it was a picture of me on the Stevens building hanging out like King Kong with a big microphone. And a lot of people still have those shirts.
You need to make some new T-shirts.
Yeah, we have it come in. I could put some. I can be dressed up like an old Civil War veteran or something. Anyway, he's just been a great friend for many years, and I don't have him on as often as I should, because we were sitting here talking during the break about something that I've been thinking about for the last about 6 months, and that is how much history I have viewed in my lifetime.
Yeah.
My father did that with me one time. We were going up to the vet's hospital. He had to go up to the hospital to get some cream for his hands from a fungus that he picked up when he was in World War II. And we're driving. He says, he always called me Davey because his name was Dave too. So it would have sounded weird calling me Dave, and he'd be like answering himself. But anyway, he was talking, and he says, I got to tell you, son, I've been really lucky. And I said, well, why were you lucky? He says, we moved from my dad moved us from our first home, which I'm going to tell you right now, I went and saw my father's house that he grew up in. It was a shack. I'm just telling you, there was no indoor plumbing. It dirt floor, the whole 9 yards.
That was my grandmother's house.
And he made the statement. He says, I went from that. I went by covered wagon in West Virginia to get to the new house. He says, I've watched the rise of the automobile. I've watched, airplanes taking you all over the world. And he said the whole thing about, the bottom line about, I've seen man walk on the moon. I've seen I've seen the whole dealing with, of course, the space shuttle, and he really liked talking about the space shuttle. That's what he got into. But I started looking at it and thinking about that, and about how many different things. And maybe I'll talk to Robert about this for a few moments as well. And that you go do your whole cleaning routine. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. Just take the break right now. And that way we can get our commercials all in. And then I don't have to take a break with Robert when he gets on the microphone.
You think he can talk that much?
Yeah, well, I know he can talk that much.
That was a joke.
I know. He is like me. He is never without an opinion. It is just the way it is. All right, we'll be back with more here in just a moment. It's the Dave Elswick Show. It is a Friday, and I'm loving it being a Friday. Robert's going to be with us until 10, and then Razorback Zach is going to be with us to talk a little bit of Razorback sports from 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Talk to him about the baseball team. Talk to him about spring practice is just around the corner for football. And see what new things he's hearing from about up on the hill dealing with sports and what the Razorbacks are doing. Okay, but 10 after 8 right now. We'll be back and pick it up with Robert in just a moment.
If things don't change, can you imagine America in 20 years? Scary thought, isn't it? The good news is we have the power to take our nation back. Stay right here for all the information you need. 101.1, The Answer.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is Dariana. We call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's attention, affection, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
There's a real battle going on, not only for our future, but that of our children and grandchildren. How do we ensure they have it better than we do? One way is to keep listening to us. We're your information source in the battle. 101.1, The Answer. You can watch the show right now. The Dave Elswick Show is streaming live on Facebook. This is 101.1, The Answer.
12 minutes after 8 here on the Dave Elswick Show. I've got to quit doing it. It's just become a crutch. When they come out of break, I go, all right, I got to stop doing that and just start talking about the topic and wasting time. But anyway.
Wasting time, like just describing.
Right, like right now.
Yeah.
Like right now, he's wasting time.
Yeah. Well, I just had John Deering on, okay, political cartoonist.
Oh, yeah. For the paper that I work for.
Yeah, and we were talking about how things have changed. And I was talking about how my father went from when he was a kid to when he was an adult. He went from the covered wagon to the space shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking to me about it. And I never thought of my father, number one, being that old.
Right.
And it's just like, I don't think of myself as being old. Do you think yourself, you're over 50 now, Val. When you think about it, do you think of yourself as being old?
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty old.
Yeah, I don't think about being old.
I do.
In my head, I still feel like I did when I was 25 years old.
Well, yeah, in there. But on the outside out here,
I can't go out and play baseball the way I used to play or whatever. I mean, they took away half of my right foot. That's not possible.
I just can't. There's certain things that I can't do. Like I can't go clubbing all night.
Well, yeah.
Those are the things I did when I was young, and then I had kids, and then I went to college. I mean, I guess I still do a lot of the things that I did, but I pay for them later. I hurt.
But I guess as I get older, I do like most people do, is that when faced with your own mortality, you start thinking about what you've seen happen.
Yeah.
All right. You're how old, Robert?
58.
Okay. So I got a few years on you.
Mm-hmm.
Deering is 70. And we were just sitting here talking about all the different things we've seen during the time we've been growing up.
Right.
And how things have changed. I mean, for me, in the 70 odd years that I've been alive, the biggest difference is computerization.
Sure.
Smartphones and and all of that. I wanted to read something really fast for you. You know Buddy Fisher, and he sends out words of encouragement to me every day.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what he wrote. Today I have given you the choice between life and death, between blessings and curses. Now I call on heaven and earth to witness the choice you make. Oh, that you would choose life so that you and your descendants might live. That's from Deuteronomy 30:19. I think the New Life Testament. And Buddy says every day, and I'm going to say you instead of I there, every day you have to make decisions, and daily you should be confronted with options to this day. Think about it. You choose better over bitter, blessings over curse, love over hate, get up over give up, receiving over resisting, thankfulness over complaining, committing over trying, determination over discouragement, progress over regression, accountability over irresponsibility. I choose life. And then he says, and may these speak to you, and may you think on and have grace to practice each one as the Lord would help you. Hope this blesses you today, buddy.
It's nice.
Good things.
Yeah.
A lot of good things to think about there. And it's funny because I had a long talk with my wife yesterday, and she had some different ideas about this and that, and about vacation and other things. And I was like, now, are you expecting a answer right after you're done talking? And she says, well, yeah, I kind of would like to. I said, I can't give that to you. I got to be like the coffee pot, man. I got to put all this through the grind of the the grounds to come up with what I really think about them. So she came up with some stuff and said, let's do this instead of that. And I was like, I've known you for 35 years. You never liked that stuff, So anyway, it was interesting. So as you look back now, because you're getting to the age as well that you start looking back a little bit, along with I never stop looking forward. But I do consider what I've seen and what has happened, and helps me to understand some things that are happening today, because it's only a repeat of what I've seen already. And that is, what's the biggest change that you've seen?
Well,
or changes?
Yeah, I mean, at a practical level, you're precisely right about technology, right? I remember when we had when the fax machine was an innovation, and indeed it was. And I think the leap, for example, from a fax machine to email is less than the leap to the fax machine, because before the fax machine, you'd either have to hand deliver something or mail it, which someone else hand delivered, basically, right? And I practiced law when the fax machine was out, but not when email was ubiquitous, at least. And so it was really an innovation to be able to get access to a document immediately. Oh, I just finished something. Okay, send it to me. And then fax it to you, right? And okay, change this, do it over the phone. So you'd use these electronic means, but it was more attenuated, right? You had to read the hard copy, make the phone call, but still it was all essentially in the present moment. And that really was an innovation. Email just made it all seamless, of course. But so the leap to the email was actually less. And that's what is all this technology really is fascinating. Having, of course, a smartphone, so that, if you have a question, when I was younger, if I had a question, I have to go to the library or ask someone who I think knew the answer. And I still do that too much, frankly, because I should first go to Grok, right? And just ask. Now, it may not be right, but it'll point you often in the right direction.
Yeah, that's the problem. It may not be right.
Well, but you got to check it, but it gives you somewhere to start. And so it's the instant access to information that we didn't have before that is really a significant change for me.
Do you remember an author by the name of Toffler, and he wrote a book called Future Shock?
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I can't say I fully recall.
If you ever get time, go back and just read what he wrote.
Right.
He was well ahead of his time.
Yeah, sure.
He saw what was coming, and he said that as technology advanced, life would become more complicated than simplify.
Right.
Because that's what they always tell us about. Technology is going to make life simpler.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
Right.
You know what it's done to me? It's given me information lock at times.
Right.
I have so much stuff
Right.
to read that it's not possible to read it. Now I'm supposed to, of course, talk to AI and say, give me the major bullet points from this year to this year of what occurred, and it'll do it. It doesn't, and it's crazy. But have you found that you have less time now than you did when you were younger?
Well, in a sense, yes, because, I guess there are a couple of reasons. One is I've just taken on more obligations, but from the technology standpoint, yes, as well, because say I'm writing my column, and if we were back in the day where we didn't have the access to information, then I would have to go out during the day and research something or make a phone call during the day to get information.
Or hire somebody.
Right. And now it's not unheard of at 10 o'clock at night. I have a thought about a column I'm working on, and I say, oh, I got an interesting angle that I hadn't thought about before. And I start doing some research on my phone and input it right into my draft of my column. My columns, I write over the entire week. I start out with an idea and I build on it, and then I tweak it and I build on it and I do research throughout the process. And so now I can work on it at any time. That's an advantage to me so that I don't lose my train of thought, but a disadvantage in a sense in that, 10 o'clock at night, I actually can be doing something on this, and I often will.
It's crazy. I mean, a lot of people say to me, wow, kind of like, where is my life gone?
Right.
It's just blown past me. And there's a reason for that. And I read about it, and what it brings into clarity is that you're not seeing things for the first time. A young person sees some of the things that you see and take for granted, and it's like an epiphany all of a sudden. Wow, and they didn't have a clue. And because of that, and because there's not as many, quote, new things out there, things are mundane and time flies by. That's the reason that they say it seems like, you start off on Monday and Friday is like they're,
right.
in hours, not days. But it's pretty interesting to sit back and think about what life was. Look, the smartphone has only been around for 16 years.
It's amazing.
2010.
Yeah.
And even then, most of us didn't have one. And then all of a sudden, through innovation and through producing of technology, Apple was able to bring that down to the masses. And then, of course, everybody else started making phones as well. And now it seems like the only difference is between the smartphones that we have now versus the smartphones that we had 10 years ago is the quality of the pictures that you can take. And that in itself has changed life as we know it.
The other thing that has helped me is GPS, right? It's ubiquitous now. And
you should never get lost.
Right. And I was never good with directions and maps.
Me
so
neither.
now it's fantastic. And I got an early GPS device before they were on phones.
Yes.
And I remember once it took me this really lousy way because it didn't have the most up-to-date information.
Right.
It still got me there. So that was an improvement. but it wasn't great. But nowadays, that's gone, right? They have all the roads on an ongoing basis, and it's all free. It's amazing.
And the other thing is, it's all up to date,
right?
Basically,
Right.
I mean, they build a new subdivision, and you'll see a car driving around with a very bizarre looking little dome on top of it, and they're not only mapping the streets, and whether this street ends and this street begins, they take video of all of it. And I know everybody has noticed this. You go to maps and you bring it up, and they've got a video that you can look at that shows you what intersections look like and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Can you imagine how many marriages have been saved because men won't ask for directions?
Yeah.
I used to get in fights all the time with my ex.
I-
We're just fumbling with the map and get lost, and it's also makes going traveling to cities you don't know a lot more fun because you don't have to worry about a map. You just but then what do we do if we don't have internet?
Yeah.
And we get lost.
If that goes out, I'm going to tell you that if, by God, and I pray that it never happens, if some country strikes us with an EMP, life as we know it ends. I mean, it ends.
We go back to the way we know it.
Well, yeah, kind of.
That's why I have a map in the glove box.
You
Always.
will, if you can find one.
Well, yeah.
I remember you go to Walmart and the new Rand McNally Road Atlas, they'd always have an end cap of just those road atlases that you could buy.
Well, all of the tourist stops typically have, if you go inside, they have maps of each state and regions. So.
I think that's even disappearing. I didn't get a chance to talk.
No, I just grabbed one for Arkansas. Arkansas has them.
Does it? Yeah. As far as, talking with John, and I can sit here and talk to Rob about the same thing. We all remember when you were walking down the street, when you didn't get your news off of your smartphone, that you would stop at the newsstand and maybe pick up 3 or 4 copies of different newspapers so that you got different opinions and things of that nature. I remember preparing for a
What's
show.
a newspaper stand anymore?
Yeah. There's no such thing as that newsstand anymore. They're gone.
I had to actually go and ask at Books. What is it over here? What's the one over here by?
It's over there by the mall.
No, the one over on Financial Parkway.
Oh, okay.
By Petco. By Books. Is it Books a Million?
I think that's probably Books a Million.
But anyway, I had to go and ask them. They're behind the counter. They don't just give you get the paper isn't just laying out anymore. You have to ask for it.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Do you remember the thing that they used to hang the paper from? It looked like bamboo.
We have that still at the law school library.
Do they?
Do that, yeah.
The poles.
Now when I look at it, I think, you can cane somebody pretty well with that. But that's the way they used to display newspapers in the library.
Right. They still do it. Last time I checked, because I read online now. But last time I checked, they have hard copy papers at the law school library, which is open to the public. It's a Pulaski County library, and you can read the paper on those bamboo sticks.
Is that where you make sure that you don't step off the special area that you're walking through the library on, because you might hurt a butterfly and change history, as you know?
I don't get the reference.
Well,
The Butterfly Effect.
the butterfly effect. I mean,
movie?
that was a big thing. If you killed a butterfly, it might change all of what happened from that time forward.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Interesting concept.
It is
Gotta get the news, Dave.
yeah, I know. I got 30 seconds. I'm watching the clock.
Okay.
I can see it. But anyway, yeah, I know people are going, Elswick, quit running after rabbits today. But
It's Friday.
That's my show.
It feels like spring out. Chase some rabbits,
yeah,
Dave. Go
yeah.
ahead. From one ADHD person to another. Chase those rabbits.
Doesn't work for me. I fall down the hill in the front of my house anymore. All right, 8:30. Let's get to news.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump is weighing in on Iran's political future as U.S. and Israeli forces pound government and military targets in Iran.
Iran continues launching missile and drone attacks against Israel and other Mideast countries, although those attacks are falling off sharply. Police in London say 4 men are under arrest on suspicion of aiding Iran by spying on the Jewish community. President Trump is nominating Oklahoma Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin for Homeland Security Secretary. Mr. Trump fired embattled Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who would face mounting criticism over her leadership of the agency. The government reports America's employers cut some 92,000 jobs last month. That's far more job cuts than analysts had been expecting. 4.4% unemployment rate. SRNnews.com. So my friends over at Pure Talk have been sending me customer feedback from consumeraffairs.com, where thousands of people rate and review the top wireless providers. Here, for instance, is a nice note from James in Raleigh, North Carolina, who writes, quote, after hearing Mike Rowe's ad, we made the switch to Pure Talk and we couldn't be happier. We went from spending $1,200 a year with T-Mobile to $420 with Pure Talk. Thanks, Mike. Switch today! Exclamation point. Pure Talk is saving James $820 a year. And because he literally wrote the words switch today in capital letters with an exclamation point, I'm going to go ahead and dedicate this commercial to him. So folks, take it from James in Raleigh, North Carolina. Pure Talk can give you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month on the same 5G service the big guys are overcharging you for. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. You'll also save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 to save an additional 50%. Thanks, James.
Oh, yeah, I'm much better now. Most of the physical effects are gone. They said it was a bad case of the heebie-jeebies. I felt like a prisoner in my own home. But thanks to the bug man, no more heebie-jeebies. I can even put stuff on the countertops again. I just wish I'd called sooner.
Call the Bugman for your own happy home at 663-9464 or go to bugman.com. The Bugman has been in business since 1976. Your satisfaction is their only contract.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Something big is happening, and you need to be in the know. Operation Epic Fury is here, and the only place to get all the details. Stay tuned and listen closely for updates on Operation Epic Fury on 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Dave Elswick is the conservative voice of Arkansas, and he's back. 101.1 The Answer.
I'll give it 24 minutes until 9 o'clock here on the Dave Elswick Show. Robert Steinbach is here. He's a law professor over at the Boeing School of Law, and his opinions are his and his alone, not that of the school or the institution to which it belongs. But as I always say, it should be their ideas. All right, so let me turn back to Robert and ask him what's in today's column.
Yeah, so of course, we just finished our primary and judicial elections. So by way of background, Dave, as you know, but your good audience members may not know because it took me a long time to pick up on this. When we vote on judges, for some reason, we don't vote on judges in November when we vote on all other positions. Now, when we vote in a primary obviously takes place before the general election. The primary election is when people in the Republican Party and people in the Democratic Party vote for their nominees because often there's more than one person that wants to run for that party's position. So you want to be the Republican who runs for Congress and there are 3 people who want to be that person, you need to have an election within the party. And then after that, whoever wins that runs in the general election. So the first one, of course, is the primary election. So we had the Republican and the Democratic primary just the other day, just this past Tuesday. And of course, before that, there was some early voting. And incidentally, to remind your listeners again, if you are registered as an independent, you can vote in the Republican primary and the Democratic primary. You can't vote in both at the same time. You have to choose one. Or you can just vote for the judges that are up, because that's not a primary election. Or if you're a Republican, you can vote, of course, in a Republican primary. Democrat, you can vote in the Democratic primary as well. The Republicans changed it just recently, and correctly so, such that if you are registered as a Democrat, you can't vote in the Republican primary. I don't think the Democrats made that change yet. They probably should, but in any event, I'm not here to advise the Democrats, because I'm not involved with what they do, right? So I had endorsed 11 candidates, either in the Republican primary or for judge positions. 9 out of the 11 that I endorsed either won outright the position they were running for, or made it to the runoff. Now, how does a runoff work? What's a runoff? It's another permutation in this circuitous process. So if you're running in a primary, either or running for judge, and there's multiple candidates, there are multiple candidates in either case, well, then it's easy that no one achieves over 50%. And for most races in Arkansas, the law requires that that anyone who's running get over 50% to win. So if you have 3 candidates and they split the vote, 40, 30, 30, then the top, well, let's make it 40, 31, 29, then the top 2 run in a runoff. So by design, one will get over 50%, because whenever you have 2 candidates, unless they precisely tie, one will get over 50%. So out of my 11 choices, 9 either won outright or got into a runoff, and I'll tell you who they are. And now then we'll elaborate. Some of these, my picks were likely to win, but some of them were not. Cole Jester won for land commissioner. I think he was pretty likely to win that one. Nonetheless, very happy to endorse him, but he had a lot of support. Richard Friend, who's running for Saline County Sheriff, and we'll talk more about that today on your show, Dave, if you want. And, and I hope you also will have Richard on your show. He made it to the runoff. And there were a number of candidates running for that Saline County Sheriff. Go ahead. Okay, let me stop you there, because you were talking about there was a lot of erroneous information that people were posting about him. Just now that he made it to the runoff, there's some crank out there who's putting out videos, and I saw this guy, and boy, let me tell you, I wouldn't buy, I wouldn't buy a hamburger from him. When Robert goes, ooh, yeah, that gets serious. Exactly. So this guy's just putting out absolutely false information about our good friend, Richard Friend. It's a good name, isn't it? Yeah. Vote for a friend for sheriff. He really is officer friendly. That's right. And Richard Friend has years of experience in law enforcement. And he's running against a guy who also has some experience in law enforcement. This crank that I told you about apparently ran more than once to be a sheriff, I think, and lost. So, he doesn't strike me as the most credible. And he's just put out, he might as well have called our good friend Richard Friend an axe murderer. I mean, it's just a bunch of cuckoo statements. They're not true. I know them not to be true because I know Richard Friend and I know his quality. And this is the difficulty. How do you prove something is not true, right?
Well, that's always the problem.
Right. No, I didn't do those false things that you said, that I'm a thief, that I'm a liar, whatever it is.
You know what the answer is?
What's that?
The answer is, when did you stop?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So that's, it's, and so far, to the best of my knowledge, his opponent hasn't said anything about this crank putting out these comments. Well, anyway, he asked me, should I, is there a legal action I can take? I said, absolutely. File a lawsuit. That's the legal action that you can take. And I gave him the name of a few attorneys that I think could do a good job at that. So I hope he sues because, as you know, I just won a unanimous jury verdict, and it doesn't have to be unanimous to win, but I got all 12 jurors, me and Chris Corbett, to be clear, got all 12 jurors to side with our clients, two conservative patriots who went to the rally on January 6th, but were not involved in any violence or anything like that.
Right.
Didn't break into the Capitol, nothing. And some crank there started accusing them of all sorts of wrongdoing as well. And we just won a $120,000 jury verdict on that. And so I have a little bit of knowledge about these things. And what I've heard about this guy is worthy of bringing a lawsuit against him too. So Richard Friend's our friend. He's officer friendly, and I encourage all folks in Saline County to vote for Richard Friend to be the next sheriff, because he's honest as the day is long. And unfortunately, that has not always been the case in the history of sheriffs that we've elected across this state or across this country.
Okay.
So he's a good guy. Anyway, so
you were right about that one.
I was right about that one. Next one, Ron Caldwell won his state Senate race, and that was a contentious one. So that was not an easy call. But my call was not that he will win. My call was that he should win, right? It was an endorsement.
Right.
And I supported him, and he won. I'll come back to this at the end, but perhaps the most, not controversial, but the most unknown outcome was John Kyle Day down there in southeast Arkansas, District 94. He was running against Missy Wardlaw, Jeff Wardlaw's wife, and Jeff Wardlaw's
the not guilty Wardlaw.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, the guilty but not convicted somehow.
Yeah.
Missy Wardlaw. Jeff Wardlaw was is still actually in the House. And by the way, I got a call from a number of folks while I was pursuing this issue who said, I can't say it out loud, or in public, but I'm not a fan of Jeff Wardlaw, and I fear if his wife gets in, she's going to be a proxy for him, basically.
Right.
And I'm not a fan. This is me talking, as you know, Dave. As you know, I'm not a fan of having these dynasties, right, where a spouse takes over for another spouse. There are enough people
like
in any
Mayberry's.
Yeah, Mayberry's as well. There are enough there are enough people in any given district that once someone is turned out, we can go to a different family. I said the same thing about the Bush family, by the way. So it's it's kind of silly. We as conservatives support term limits, but the term limits obviously don't include the spouse. You can't do that as a matter of course. But unless there's some exceptional reason for a spouse to be running for office, I'm highly skeptical of it.
Okay, that's fine.
Right. So John Kyle Day beat Missy Wardlaw, and I'll come back to that in a moment. Wayne Long, a very strong conservative, he won his race for state rep in the primary as well. Then judges. Nick Bronny.
Yeah, he got over 50%.
Well, there were only two candidates.
I know.
So Nick Bronny won.
And it was good. I had
Yeah.
him on the air, and I was impressed.
Mhm.
Really was impressed by him.
Solid candidate, solid lawyer. So that was clearly the right choice. Gunnar DeLay, trial court judge over in Sebastian County, very good conservative judge. He won. Here in Pulaski County, Robert Tellez won, and that was a four-way race. He won a majority. Four-way race, and I endorsed him. Robert, incidentally, was my student many, many years ago. A good student, but more importantly, thereafter, a good lawyer, a solid guy. He's not particularly conservative, by the way. He's not a lefty, but he's kind of middle road guy, but a solid guy.
He's a moderate.
Yeah, and in Pulaski County, you can't even find conservatives who can win an election.
Yeah,
It's
he's
unfortunate.
leaning towards
Right.
Being a Republican.
There's a guy over in, get this, Independence, Cleburne, Izard, Fulton, and Stone counties, because they're all, sort of a low population.
Right.
So, by the name of Scott Davidson, who's running for trial judge, and it was a 3 or 4 person race. I think a 3-person race. He made it into the final 2, and I support him. So he's in the runoff. And then the 2 that I endorsed that didn't make it, Brandon Carter for Court of Appeals, he didn't win, and Seth Creed for a trial court position in Washington, Madison counties, and he didn't win. Going back to the John Kyle Day race, well, we've talked about some of it already, but just to remind your viewers, Missy Wardlaw has a guilty disposition for a hot check crime. Well, if you're convicted of a hot check crime, you're not allowed to run for office. I pointed this out in a column. John Kyle Day read that column and petitioned to have her disqualified based on what I wrote.
All right.
And the trial court, who's Kathy Compton here in Pulaski County, said, well, I don't think that's a conviction. It's like if you pay a fine on a traffic ticket. Yeah, that's a guilty.
Well, here's the key. Let's say you're convicted of, domestic violence, and they send you away to prison. Does that mean because you went to prison that now you're not guilty?
It's so bizarre I can't answer. Right? I mean, the analogies, none of them make sense. It says guilty, but according to Kathy Compton, it means that's not a conviction. Then it gets appealed to Supreme Court. 3 of the justices were accused. The 2 liberals, and to my surprise, Sean Womack, side with Kathy Compton's decision.
Have you talked to him about it?
No, I haven't spoken about it. And then they had a bunch of absent, sort of replacement judges who just
they
signed
had
up.
like 3 of them.
Right. And the person who wrote the opinion is Goodson. Is it Hudson? I'm not trying to be facetious. She got divorced or something, so I can't remember if she goes by Goodson or Hudson now. Courtney Goodson. It's one of the 2.
Okay.
Right? And she wrote the majority opinion. Well, get this. Her political operative, when she runs for office, is a woman by the name of Linda Napper. She runs a political consulting firm. Guess who else Linda Napper represents? Both Wardlaws.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that great? Both Wardlaws. And then if you check Linda Napper's voting record, this is public record. You can get it from the Secretary of State. She has alternated in the last several elections. One election, she votes in a Democratic primary. In the very next election, she'll vote in a Republican primary, then back to a Democratic primary. Boy, that's some conviction, Dave.
Yeah.
Right? But that's what it means to be a political operative, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the substance is, right? It's just about where she needs to be aligned at the moment.
I agree. Okay, let's take a break.
Yep.
And this will be the final break of the hour, and then we'll come up and finish talking to Robert. Robert Steinbach is with us until 10 o'clock. It's already 8:50 here on the Dave Elswick Show. Good to have you along for the ride on this Friday on 1011, the Answer.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
101.1 The Answer. Weather.
A slight chance of rain today, otherwise cloudy and a high of 80. Then it's scheduled to rain all day long tomorrow and a 50-50 shot on Sunday.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
We just kind of knew from the beginning that we were family.
They showcased a sense of love that I never had before. I mean, he's not only my parent, like he's like my best friend.
At the end of the day, it's all been worth it. I wouldn't change a thing about our lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council. We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age. Everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Don't miss out on the latest news. Operation Epic Fury is here, and we're giving you the inside information. Make sure you're listening for all the details on Operation Epic Fury, right here on 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Now, back to the Dave Elswick Show, 101.1 The Answer.
All right, 8 minutes until 9 o'clock. Last segment for this hour with Robert Steinbach, law professor, Bowen School of Law. His opinions are his and his alone, and not indicative of how the Bowen School of Law feels or Euler feels about them as well. All right, so we'll let him get back and talk some more about how he came out under the
my predictions, my endorsements.
Excuse
me, they weren't predictions because someone had written me even at the time saying, "Rob, when I said here are my picks," and they said, "Well, use the word picks. Do you mean picks like who you think is going to win, or your picks? Who are you endorsing?" I said, "No, these are endorsements. I have no idea if they're going to win." I mean, I had some sense about some of the candidates,
right?
But I told you that the John Kyle Day race versus Missy Wardlaw, I didn't know who was going to win. You want to know how many votes he won by? 87 votes. It's pretty tight.
You know, voting
matters.
Helps your candidate.
That's right. That's right. And so I was telling you before the break that the person who wrote the majority opinion in the Supreme Court, Courtney Goodson, her political operative is Linda Napper, and Linda Napper is also the political operative for the Wardlaws. So I wasn't a big fan of all that, needless to say. But what the courts were unable to do because they misinterpreted the law, that's right. I'm in a position to say they got it wrong. Rhonda Wood, by the way, Justice Rhonda Wood, got it right. She wrote the dissent and she said, it says guilty. That's a conviction. This is not complicated. And but she was in the dissent, meaning the minority, so her view didn't prevail. So Missy Wardlaw remained on the ballot. And guess what? The people got it right. The people fixed it because, of course, John Kyle Day was the much better candidate as well. In addition to not being this kind of dynastic attempt, he's a learned history professor at U of A Monticello. It's Monticello, Monticello. I don't know.
It's Monticello.
Monticello, yeah, UA Monticello. And so he's a really smart guy. And that's a good thing, right? All those big, and
typically
right,
is.
Right. So I'm very pleased with this outcome, and hopefully we can end that dynasty, that attempt at a dynasty once and for all. By the way, you might recall that Jeff Wardlaw worked to undermine and defeat in a previous session the bill to end affirmative action in Arkansas that ultimately passed, and I was involved in helping on that. But in a prior, it took 3 sessions to do it, and in the second session that we did it in, he's mouthing to another member of the committee, move to table the bill. He didn't do it, but he's mouthing to the other guy, and it's all on the video because they videotape those meetings, and you can read his lips. It's clear as day. It's kind of funny to watch. And they tabled the bill, and then the sponsor, House sponsor, Justin Gonzalez, next meeting untabled it. But it's not an easy thing to do. Luckily, he was able to achieve that. And then the bill went forward. It was at the end of session, and it died on the floor in large respects, by the way, because Shepard, what's Shepard's first name?
I know who you're
Yeah,
talking
right.
about.
The Speaker of the House, Shepard, then Speaker of the House, Shepard, basically, he opposed it. He clearly opposed it, and he undermined it as well. And so it failed. And then next session, the last substantive session that we had, in fact,
We got it through.
we got it through, and we did it early in the session, so it wasn't one of those rush jobs.
And it wasn't a close vote.
No, it wasn't a close vote. And we said to folks, look, you vote your conscience, but this is a conservative ideal. So if you don't support it, be aware that we're going to highlight that in the future, that you're not as conservative as you might be claiming.
Yes.
Right. And of course, Jeff Wardlaw, when he first ran for the House, was a Democrat. 6 years later, I think it was, he switched to Republican. By the way, so did the House, right? What a coincidence. He discovered he was a Republican right after the House discovered that it was going Republican. Whoever would have thought about it?
There's a lot of that going on.
Exactly. So he discovered he's a Republican. Of course, he hired a political operative who really doesn't much care about which party. She votes in both parties in alternating times. She was working for Courtney Hudson, who Courtney is a Democrat. I mean, she's clearly.
Bottom line, this is people that you don't say have solid principles in what they base their decisions.
Oh, they've got a principle, Dave. I want to win.
Yeah, I want.
That's the principle.
I want
to win. That's their principle. How do I get in power? I don't care what I'm voting on. How do I get in power?
That's what they should say. It says, I just want to be able to tell you how to live your life.
That's right. That's right. And I want people to call me by a fancy title, that kind of thing. The best judges that I've met, and by the way, I do this. I'm a professor, as you know, Dave, and people, actually, I was talking to a judge recently, and he's Professor Steinbeck this and Professor Steinbeck that, and he was talking quickly, so I didn't have a chance to interject, which, as you know, was shocking, right? And finally, and he was saying, important stuff, substantive stuff that we had to talk about an issue. And I said to him, by the way, please call me Rob.
Yeah.
Right. Meaning, no, there's one group of people only that I require, and I do require, to call me Professor Steinbeck.
Your students.
My students in the classroom and in the building.
Yeah.
Outside the building, I sort of jokingly tell them, you can call me anything you want, or preferably not at all. But but in the classroom, because I'm modeling a type of behavior. Because when you're in court, you better call a judge, or your honor, that kind of thing. But out of court, you know which judges I like? They say, call me Jim, whatever. Right? Because we're out of court. We're out of the context. And some of these people that run for these offices, they their whole thing is to march around with their title.
Their acronyms are their identity.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. Yep. It's 8:59. We got news coming up, and after that, we got another hour with Mr. Steinbach. I'm looking forward to here on the Dave Elswick Show.
1011FM, theanswer.com. Download our apps, stream us 24/7, or watch us at snc.tv. KDXE, Kamek Village, Little Rock.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The February employment report is in this morning. It took the experts by surprise.
A new report from the Labor Department shows that the U.S. lost 92,000 jobs last month, far below the expected gain of 55,000 jobs. Unemployment ticked up to 4.4% rather than the expected 4.3%. The data will factor into the Federal Reserve's thinking on whether to cut interest rates again. The Fed held its key rate steady in January after cutting at each of the last three previous policy meetings amid concerns about labor market weakness. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
President Trump is weighing in on Iran's political future as U.S. and Israeli forces pound government and military targets. Iran continues launching missile and drone attacks against Israel and other Mideast countries, although those attacks are falling off sharply.
The Navy is gone. 24 ships.
President Trump says U.S. and Israeli forces are decimating Iran's.
They have no air force. They have no air defense.
He concedes it's not complete.
Missiles are gone. Launches are gone. About 60% and 64% respectively.
But what's left of Iran's leadership, Trump says, is desperate.
They're calling. They're saying, how do we make a deal? I said, you're being a little bit late. And we want to fight now more than they do.
After the son of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei emerged as a frontrunner to succeed him, Trump declared he should be involved in choosing Iran's next supreme leader. I'm Ben Thomas.
The president is nominating Oklahoma Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin for Homeland Security Secretary. Mr. Trump fired embattled DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who had faced growing criticism over her leadership of the agency. The president says he's naming Noem a special envoy for the Shield of the Americas. Watching Wall Street, stocks are deep in the red this morning. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down. At the moment, it's off about 725 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. A lot of us are thinking about taxes, home projects we've been putting off, ways to get ahead financially in 2026. Now's the perfect time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. If you want to lower your mortgage payment, they can help you refinance. If you need access to cash for home improvements or to wipe out high-interest debt, their fixed-rate line of credit is one of the best tools out there. Fast approval, predictable rate, and flexibility to use your home's equity wisely. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next two mortgage payments. Imagine starting big projects or paying down debt with 2 months of breathing room. My family and I have used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Take control of 2026. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE. That's 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
The State Department says the United States and Venezuela have agreed to reestablish diplomatic relations. The move comes as Trump administration officials have been visiting the South American nation after dictator Nicolas Maduro was deposed by the U.S. back in January. Since then, the Trump administration has been stepping up pressure on Maduro loyalists who now run the oil-rich nation. Relations between the two countries were severed back in 2019 during President Trump's first term. Wide swaths of Cuba remained without power a day after a massive blackout hit the western part of the island. The latest outage is blamed on a fragile electric grid and a lack of fuel. Crews worked overnight to repair a broken boiler at one of Cuba's largest thermoelectric plants. Officials have warned that it could take 3 to 4 days for power to be fully restored. State media reports 52% of electric customers in Havana now have power. News and analysis, townhall.com. These folks take the culinary arts quite seriously.
The debate is in Denmark whether top-level cooking counts as art. And the country's theatrical restaurants sit right at the center of it. Some are exploring formal recognition for gastronomy. Now, here is where it gets a little weird. Some chefs say food can carry ideas and emotion just like modern performance art. Art Voices say chefs could start competing for the same cultural money. Makes you want to grab a sandwich and go look at paintings. Jason Walker reporting.
Postmaster General David Steiner warns that the Postal Service is on track to run out of cash within a year. That is, unless Congress allows it to borrow more money. No cash would mean no pay for workers or vendors, and that could impact mail delivery. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Scott Jennings sets the record straight.
Donald Trump has been 100% consistent on his views on the Iranian regime going back to 1980. And since he became a political figure in the United States, he has been crystal clear that he will never allow Iran to possess a nuclear weapon.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at noon, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on 101.1. The Answer.
Oh, we're into the 9 o'clock hour here on the Dave Elswick Show. My weekend looms in front of me. I'm done at 11 o'clock, so I hope that your weekend is going to be a good one, although it sounds like it's going to be a soggy one. Rain all day tomorrow, rain some 50-50 on Sunday. So I'm thinking already for my lunch tomorrow, Val. It's going to be a grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup. Yeah, that's what it looks. So
Sounds good to me.
Whenever it gets chilly or cold, that is my go-to.
Not chili, but tomato soup.
I buy, and just did last week. I buy cases of tomato soup. I love tomato soup.
What's not to love?
And my wife says, "Well, you're picky because I won't make tomato soup with water. I make it with milk."
Yeah, it depends what you grew up with. Did you grow up?
Yes,
Yeah,
my mother
right.
made it with milk, and it with water. It just doesn't have the same fullness to it that I like.
I grew up with water, so now we had cream-based soups, but not tomato. Never tomato.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I know people who couldn't afford to buy tomato soup, and so they bought a real big bottle of ketchup and put water with it and make
Nasty.
and that was their tomato soup. But that's what they could afford.
Right.
So that's what they ate. All right. So back with you here on Davis. Robert Steinbach is here. Of course, he's a law professor over at Bowen School of Law. His opinions are his and his alone, not necessarily those of the School of Law or the university to which it belongs. So what was your outcome on your column? What did you say at the very end of your column? Did you you crow a little bit?
No, I don't think so. Well, you tell me. I said the courts didn't interpret the law correctly in allowing Missy Wardlaw to remain on the ballot.
I agree with that.
It's simply a bad call. Justice Rhonda Wood described precisely what is the right call. So this is not just Rob Steinbach pontificating out there in the desert. There's another Supreme Court justice who agreed with me, and then there were 3 who recused. So we don't know how they would have voted had they been involved in the case. And had they been involved with the case and they agreed with me, that would have been a majority, in fact. Well, so I said, even though the courts got it wrong, the people got it right.
Yeah, they got it right.
John Kyle Day was clearly the better candidate. Substantively, he is a more capable candidate, and he's not involved in an attempt to have a dynastic office where it's passed between spouses or other relatives, which I don't like.
Well, there's nothing to like
exactly
about that. I mean, what's the family in Michigan that the father held the office, and then he died in office, and the wife ran and picked up the mantle, and then she ran out of being able to be in office, and now her daughter has taken over
remember
that.
the name. I know precisely. Dingus? Something
Dingus.
like
That's
this.
it. That's who it is. Yeah. That's just
Dingle.
Dingle. Yeah. Yeah.
What a name, right?
Is Dingus when you call it like somebody a fool or something?
Dummy.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're
Dingus.
kind of
I'm gonna use that now.
it's
You're
a
a dingus.
dingleberry is what it is.
No, that's a I'm not gonna say what that is. You and your words lately down there.
And it just makes me think of certain things, and that one really makes me think of that area of the body plus what a dingleberry is. But anyway, that's I don't know why anybody would vote to keep a family in a position.
Yeah, I think
they
it's
just hold it forever.
I think it's a negative factor. You can overcome it in very limited circumstances, but it's a negative factor. It's too much concentrated power.
I mean, it's like Pelosi. She's done, and her daughter's running for her position. I mean, that's
right, exactly right,
what we're
exactly the
talking
same
about.
thing, exactly.
So you're going to take somebody who's younger with the same type of positions and put them back in this. I don't get it. All right, it's 11 after 9 here on Dave Elswick Show. What's your take on what's going on in Iran?
Well, listen, Dave, you and I remember, even to this day, fairly well, the revolution in Iran, which was a fake revolution in a sense, or a misleading revolution, right? There's a bunch of college kids who sort of created this alliance with the Ayatollah Khomeini, who promised reform and suggested that.
And that's what all dictators do.
Right. And then they get in there and they impose a theocracy, a brutal theocracy. Women have to be, covered head to toe, and the democracy is limited because the head is not democratically elected. He's appointed. It's a dictatorship. And so we remember that. And of course, we remember the 444 days that the Americans who were working in the U.S. embassy were hostages to those corrupt people.
That's when Jimmy Carter was president.
That's right. And they were released right after Reagan was inaugurated. And I was in D.C. at Reagan's inauguration when they were released, in fact. And so we remember that, and we remember now the 47 years of support for terrorism.
You know what I remember more than anything else about this regime? And it's something that a lot of people don't even know existed in it, that it happened. And that's when they blew up the Marine barracks in Beirut and killed over 200 Marines.
Right.
And that, they never were punished for that. I mean, I don't care how many sanctions you put on somebody. That's not really paying for outright cold-blooded murder.
That's right.
And that's what they did. I mean, they filled up a truck with a ton of explosives, drove around the barriers, went in front of the building, and detonated it.
Absolutely. No, the history is replete with the terroristic acts coming out of Iran. So I hear some of these Democrats say, what was the imminency? And my response is, the imminency was 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
47 years
Right, 47 years ago. The imminency started half a century ago.
Yes.
And by the way, where did this standard come that we can't do anything against a terrorist country building nuclear bombs until they're on the precipice of sending one over to us?
Or until they do send it over and are successful in detonating it.
Like this whole notion of imminent. My response is, thank goodness it's not imminent. That's the right response. And you see these clowns, Democrats, shilling for Iran. I mean, talk about how Trump can get under the skin and cause Trump derangement syndrome. These Democrats are shilling for the Iranian mullah regime.
That's just they are. If you're behind them, you support them. That's the way that's pretty good. I mean, look, Condoleezza Rice called on Trump and his administration to totally neuter the rogue nation in epic fury in Iran.
Of course.
I love Condoleezza Rice. She's one of my favorite people. You know why? Because she's a woman who really likes sports, too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm a man who doesn't watch sports.
I know you don't.
maybe you say I'm not such a man.
But I
don't
still
know.
like it. I still like it.
Right.
But I mean, I know that I'm not going to bring up sports to talk to you about.
Right.
What do you think about Snohan? And he's pitching this year?
That's not the one with the funny shaped ball, is it?
No.
Okay.
No, this is he's a Japanese player, came
Oh, yeah.
to the United States 2 years ago.
That's nice.
And he blew out his shoulder,
Ooh.
and he was a pitcher over in Japan, and he was a pitcher here in the United States for part of one season. But the dude is, I don't call him a generational talent. I call him just an incredible talent. He's our Babe Ruth in the 21st century. I definitely I want to see the Dodgers play this year, because I want to see the guy play, because if he's not pitching, he'll be playing in the lineup, and he'll be either a DH or playing the outfield somewhere. He's that good. You just plug him in wherever you need him. It's amazing.
It shows you how much I know.
Yeah, I know. I know. But the key is I know baseball like the back of my hand, and I'm just telling you that the guy can do it all. He can run, he can throw, he can pitch, he can hit. It's amazing. He really is amazing. He's the real deal. Really is. I've only seen a few ball players that I would say that about. I mean, I was a young kid, but I saw Ted Williams play.
Yeah.
All right.
I've heard
and
that
he
name.
was a tremendous talent. I saw Mickey Mantle play. I saw, I've seen Richie Hebner and a lot of other people play that were great ball players. But as I watched this guy and his figures and his stats, there ain't nobody I've ever seen that is good as this guy.
Right.
So I want to see him in action.
Yeah, cool.
I want to
Cool.
do that. So, Lord, if you don't mind, let me live during this year of baseball. All right. 'Cause I don't want to miss him. I don't want to miss him. So what, do you think that it's funny because everybody felt like the supreme leader over in Iran needed to go, but then Trump does something about it, and everybody hates it. What is it about people now? About why does he rub people so much the wrong way?
Well, to be fair, meaning I'm a Trump supporter, and I laugh when I see the Trump derangement syndrome, but he will poke folks in the eye when he doesn't always need to poke folks in the eye.
He's like Mo of the Three Stooges,
Yeah, right.
Boink.
Right, exactly. But frankly, it's probably not even that. It's that he is, he'll state his position and he won't dance around it. And they don't like that he's not playing the political game, right? And by the way, you see other politicians doing this with what's going on by not calling this a war, because there's an issue, a legal issue. If it's a war, does Congress have to vote on it?
Yeah.
Right? So a bunch of politicians are...
Because for all of you who don't know this, only Congress can declare war. President can't do that. That's
Right.
Congress.
But since World War II, presidents have always engaged in military conflicts, wars, that
Police actions.
right? They got all sorts of names for wars. That's not war. Yes, I agree with the broad notion that technically Congress declares war. And I also agree with the fact that for nearly a century now, presidents have not abided by that. So, okay, go deal with it. I don't know what to tell you. But certainly this president is not going to change that practice after 75 years of experience. He's not going to do it.
Obama dropped bombs on people while he was president.
Virtually every president has had some sort of military action. So to me, military action is war. That doesn't mean I'm suggesting that we need to change the practice. I'm just saying it's all the same. And you can get into that academic debate that's largely not enforceable because the courts likely would not get involved. They would call it a political question doctrine issue.
The quafuckle. Was it? I'm thinking of that word that they call when something, they mess it up so badly, like when they beat an egg to make scrambled eggs, a kerfuckle.
So they wouldn't get involved, and the bottom line is that
Clairfuffle.
it's a technical. I'm not trying to minimize it. It's a sort of philosophical legal question, but one that has not been enforced, like I say, for 75 years. So go deal with it. I don't know what
Well,
to tell
here's the other thing. Republicans hated FDR because of, he tried to pack the court and all the rest of the things that he did when he was president. But when World War II was declared, they were firmly behind the president. That's not the way it is anymore.
No.
People don't line up and support the president.
Right.
Well, at least this president.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Anyway, it's crazy. We got to get a break in. 9:21, come back and we'll cover the big stories of the day with Robert here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Some power outages. Central Arkansas just got another reminder that winter doesn't play around. Northside Power keeps homes running with Cummins home standby generators. Northside Power is Central Arkansas's largest supplier and the #1 provider in sales and service. Their systems automatically restore power in seconds. And with Northside's monitoring technology, you'll know your generator is ready before the next storm hits. Generators isn't something we do, it's all we do.
Town Hall News, where conservative voices cut through the noise from breaking headlines to fearless opinion. We report what matters without apology. Written by people who actually believe what you believe. Town Hall tells the stories the corporate press buries, from President Trump to Capitol Hill, from pivotal elections to your everyday lives. Join the movement at townhall.com. Real stories, real reporters, real conservative media.
What is dedication?
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is Dariana. We call him Day for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's attention, affection, knowledge. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that when he's no longer under my wing, that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. The craziest thing was believing that your dad knew everything. So as a dad, you felt like you had to know everything. You had to get everything right. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then, it kind of starts to work itself out. I want him to be able to sit back one day and go, we worked together, we did a good job.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The news never stops, and neither does your schedule. That's why we're here, keeping you up to date with all the biggest stories of the day. We're 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. The Dave Elswick Show is back. 101.1, The Answer.
A lot of things going on, and I think Robert would agree with me. There's a lot of things that are debated within Congress that Congress really has no deciding factor that they can make in the issue. And this whole thing about taking the military action is one of them. They're standing on really, really thin ice when they say, you got to come and ask us if it's okay to go over and bomb Iran. No, he doesn't.
Well,
not under the second article of the Constitution.
I think also that he would win that vote, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah,
I really would hope so. But and Rand Paul knows better. That's the thing.
Rand Paul's an isolationist.
Yeah,
it's that simple. And I'm not an isolationist.
No.
I've never been an isolationist. Actually, when Trump ran for office, he was more isolationist than he is now, and than I am. But you pick your candidates like it's not a Chinese food menu that you get to pick every aspect, right? They are a combination of attributes. And he was somewhat more isolationist than I am. I'm not particularly isolationist. I support intervention when I believe it's necessary, to be clear. And this one is so long time coming. And the notion, as I said before the break, Dave, that we should be waiting around until Iran is on the precipice of bombing us with it, or any of our allies, by the way, with a nuclear weapon is bonkers.
Yeah.
They have consistently made clear their intention to get a nuclear weapon. When Jared and I forget the other guy's name went over there. Witkoff. Yeah. They said, Witkoff said to them, well, we'll give you the nuclear power. We'll give you, you don't have to create any radioactive material. And they said, no. Well, so what? But if you're getting it for free from us, why do you need to be doing that?
So let me ask this question of you. Why do you think it is not discussed that the Iranians, they have some fissionable material?
Right.
It's hidden somewhere in Iran. I mean,
it's part of the stuff that at least the United States is trying to bomb, I believe.
So I guess perhaps they may have collapsed some tunnels and they can't get to it yet. But that's something that needs to be taken care of, because you can't just leave it there and let somebody go get it. And now you don't have to put a bomb on the tip of a missile to make it devastating. You can take some, of the nuclear material and put it in a Coke can and make holes in the Coke can, tie it underneath a taxi, let the taxi drive around and spread the radioactivity, and tens of thousands of people are going to die from radiation sickness or cancer or whatever. They just can't have it. You can't trust them at all. I mean, what would we have done in World War II if we thought that, well, we did do something. We did the Manhattan Project. We got the bomb first because Germany was working on one too, and they were pretty close to it. They didn't have the heavy water, and that was because of an action the Allies took up in, I think, Sweden, where they were producing the heavy water necessary for an atomic weapon. They blew up the factory. In fact, there's a movie made about it. And it just seems to me, as much as what we should have learned from history, many people forget, or they don't want to bring it into the equation. I mean, if you know that 2 + 2 = 4, why wouldn't you make sure that anytime 2 + 2 shows up in any kind of mathematical problem, it's going to be 4? So you just say, yeah, I've learned that 2 + 2 is 4. So we can't let the Iranians have a bomb, because their 2 + 2 is what they think and what their religion is.
Yeah, well, it's as we discussed earlier before the break, 47 years of support for terrorism by the most rogue of rogue nations, and every other president just sat by, and it's nonsense. Absolutely. And of course, Obama shipped over pallets of money to these terrorists.
And then Biden unfroze millions of dollars that was frozen from the Iranians being able to get it.
Well, and that's why people, they say, well, why would Iran drag its feet when Trump is saying, look, either you come to the table or we're going to take you out, take out your military installations, and leadership as well, by the way. And the answer is because they've been getting away with it for so long, they thought they could continue to get away with it.
It's like the kid whose parents have said, do that again and I'll spank you, but never spanks them. And then all of a sudden you spank them and it's like, why did you do that?
Right, exactly.
As far as that's concerned. I mean, this is serious business.
Right.
And we can't let the Iranians pontificate it away.
That's right.
And that's what they're trying to do.
Well, they're just trying to wait them out, right?
Yeah, they're trying to run the clock.
Yeah. I mean, there'll never be another Trump. So it has to happen now.
All right, here's your news.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. American and Israeli forces are showing no mercy to Iran's military-backed dictatorship as the U.S. warns that attacks on Iran will intensify as a full week of hostilities draws to a close. Some of the Americans trapped in the Middle East have managed to make it back home. The challenge is booking a flight that isn't then subsequently canceled. Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma says he is very excited at the prospect of serving as the next Homeland Security Secretary. President Trump is nominating him for the job after firing embattled DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. February's job cuts caught the experts off guard. The Labor Department says employers shed 92,000 employees last month. On Wall Street, stocks are sharply lower. The Dow down 635 points. The Nasdaq 230 points in the red. More details at srnnews.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. A lot of us are thinking about taxes, home projects we've been putting off, ways to get ahead financially in 2026. Now's the perfect time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. If you want to lower your mortgage payment, they can help you refinance. If you need access to cash for home improvements or to wipe out high-interest debt, their fixed-rate line of credit is one of the best tools out there. Fast approval, predictable rate, and flexibility to use your home's equity wisely. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next 2 mortgage payments. Imagine starting big projects or paying down debt with 2 months of breathing room. My family and I have used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Take control of 2026. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE. That's 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show him you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Talk radio for the next generation.
Hey, coming up this weekend for The Voice of Reason, where are we at with the ongoing conflict in Iran, and will we see the end to it anytime soon? Plus, we'll chat with Mike Murphy on the Committee for Responsible Federal Budgets as we talk about the appropriations process in trying to reform government spending. That plus what happened with elections this week.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. 101.1 The Answer. Weather.
A slight chance of rain today, otherwise cloudy and a high of 80. Then it's scheduled to rain all day long tomorrow and a 50-50 shot on Sunday.
The conservative voice of Arkansas. The Dave Elswick Show on 101.1 The Answer.
Okay, so I was sitting here reading a story to Robert. And as I said, the Democrats hated FDR. But when the war started, in World War II, everybody coalesced behind FDR. Let me just read this to you as well. Partisan polarization over Operation Epic Fury. Pretty much what you'd expect when the opposition party has been messaging the way they have been. 87% of Democrats oppose our efforts. 81% of Republicans support the president's efforts. ABC News looked at 3 polls. While nearly 9 in 10 Democrats and about 6 in 10 independents opposed the strikes in the post poll, about 8 in 10 Republicans supported it. Women opposed the strikes by a 26-point margin, while men were roughly split. What is it about women that they can't understand? Sometimes you got to shoot at people.
Well, there's a whole bunch of splits as you were reading during the break to me. And the bottom line is that you and I and many, many people agree that we can't let the terrorist country of Iran continue to do what they've been doing for 47 years. And so we have a president willing to do something about it, not just talk about it or deliver pallets of cash to the Iranian mullahs like Obama did. And this is sometimes countries go to war because
they have to.
They have to, right?
This is the thing. Look, it's been 47 years. How long do you want to wait before you see a regime isn't going to change their ways and they're really working hard to get the ultimate weapon? How long are you going to wait? Are you going to wait till they load it on a plane and they're flying it to an American city? I don't get this. I just don't get it. It seems to be common sense to me.
Well, even you see countries like Saudi Arabia that are now pushing back because Iran is bombing them. But even then, I think, and maybe I haven't watched it closely enough, it still seems somewhat tepid. At what point do the neighbors of Iran come out and say, wait a second, you're blowing us up? No good. And we're going to be directly involved in replacing you, your administration,
Yeah, it's
your
amazing.
regime.
Yeah. We're not going to wait around anymore.
Right.
If you live next door to somebody and they were out firing all kinds of automatic weapons at targets and hated you and attacked your friends and killed a lot of them, how would you deal with them? And the police say, well, they haven't killed you yet, so you can't attack them.
Right. I mean, that's essentially that absurdist argument is what's going on. It's.
Was it Justice Marshall in the Supreme Court that said that the Constitution is not a suicide pact?
I don't think it was he, but I'm not sure. I know. Of course, you're right that was a famous quote. But we don't have any constitutional issues here. Right?
That's true.
It's just a will, and you don't have a will by some politicians and others, I guess, to do what is at times necessary. People say, well, we should use diplomacy. Diplomacy works because you have levers, you have pressure points, financial and military. And we've tried the financial unsuccessfully. And the negotiations were going round and round because the Iranians know that you just keep talking to Americans and American negotiators under previous administrations, and you run out the clock. And this president said, no. So what's left? Military. That's what's left. And I'm no fan of fighting and wars and devastation and all that stuff. The question is, what's the alternative? And the alternative in this situation is the continuation of a 47-year-old terrorist regime. That's a problem.
I will say this. If Reagan were president right now, we might be doing the exact same thing. And if he was doing it, the never Trumpers out there would be supporting him. They'd be cheering him in the halls of Congress. And now, because you personally just don't like somebody, because you see him as an outsider and not as a person who is, advancing the Republican brand, so to speak, I don't get it. I'm at a loss for words when I look at people that aren't saying, "Good for you, Mr. President. You understand that these guys got to be stopped."
Well, indeed, right? We don't have any hesitation in supporting this reasoned military action. Look, military action always brings unsavory consequences. But the question is whether those unsavory consequences are better or worse than the alternative. And in this situation, it seems quite clear.
I think, yeah. After the Beirut bombing, I would have thought 90% of Americans would be agreeable to going in and destroying Hezbollah.
Right.
All right, because they're the ones that carried out the attack. And because of their carrying out the attack, by, working with Hezbollah, Iran would be right there in the middle of the radar screen.
Of course. Absolutely.
To be taken care of. So I don't I got to tell you, if you're standing against this, you don't understand national security at all. I mean, you don't understand why you can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon.
Could you imagine? Right? I mean, it's just,
oh my God.
And they're just proceeding in that direction every single day.
Yeah. And we got to pick up the 90 pounds of enriched uranium wherever it happens to be in Iran. Because you can't let some other despot get it. And there's others out there that would love to have their hands on it. I mean, Un would love it in North Korea, of course. And there's other sponsors of state terror all over the world that you don't want to let them get their hands on it because they would use it.
And Iran, the regime in Iran would readily give it to them because they have demonstrated a pattern of having proxies conduct their terrorism.
Yeah, and they've said it from look, my dad always taught me that you got to believe what somebody tells you. If somebody says, "I'm going to punch you in the nose," be ready be watching their hands and their arms, that they're not loading up ready to punch you in the nose.
Well, it's a great point, right? Iran has said for years that they want to destroy America. They want to destroy Israel. They want to destroy the West. And as you say, and other politicians have said this too, believe what they say.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. Just take it for granted. I mean, look, Iran is not the mouse that roared. I'm telling you, that's not the case. This isn't some flea-bitten third, world party in some backwaters. These people have money and they've got scientists that can do what they're saying.
The country's nearly 100 million people. That's no tiny country. I want to look, how big. I'm going to look up how many people are in Russia. I bet you it's comparable. And so that's, this is a real. Russia is 143 million.
There you go.
1.5 times, right? That's not a huge difference. And as you say, they have been up until recently flush with money from selling oil illegally in many instances, and are developing
and getting money from presidents.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's so bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's like saying that you're against their aggression, but we're going to give you a self-fulfilling prophecy by giving you hundreds of billions of dollars in free money.
Right.
You can't make this up. It sounds like a great fiction story, but you can't make this stuff up. It's really happening right now. And there's people that are supporting it to happen.
That's, perhaps that's the more bizarre part of this.
It truly is. It really is that you're helping your enemy. I mean, I read a book about international telephone and telegraph right before AT&T. And they were the people who developed sonar for our ships. Guess what? They had a branch office basically in Germany during World War II. Guess what they were doing over in Germany?
What's that?
They were devising the device to defeat the device that they were putting together to give to the American military. I mean, a lot of these big corporations, they have no moral bearing whatsoever. Their whole way to survive is just making your stockholders happy by maximizing profits. And what IT&T was doing at the time was playing both sides of the fence. Exactly what they were doing. It's just crazy as far as I'm concerned. Some of the stuff I hear come out of these people's mouths. And then the Americans that go to the polls that reelect them.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the problem, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you're doing things that are against America, and this other group is definitely against our republic. Well, but I'll just keep voting the same people in, knowing that they won't change anything that's going on. I for the life of me, I don't get it. I really don't get it. So again, just to let you know that this is going to be an ongoing story, of course, while it's going on, while they're bombing. They're to the point now that Israel and the United States, that they're having to really look for targets. The low hanging fruit, so to speak, has been picked, squashed, and left out in the sun to decay. It's exactly what's going on right now.
And that's why they need to go, right? Because this is not theater. You need to substantively remove these risks, and they persist. So I gather from what I read, and so the military continues.
You know, that battleship that we sunk a couple of days ago, we torpedoed it. First ship to be brought down by a torpedo since World War II. Did you know what the name of it was?
No.
Soleimani.
Is that right?
Yeah, they named it after that terrorist general.
Right.
I had a field day when Trump killed him.
Right.
Had him killed, because the only way they could identify that it was him is they found a hand in the debris, and it was wearing only a ring that only Soleimani wore. And that's
Is that right?
That's how they knew that they got him.
Wow.
I mean, now they got DNA proof and everything, but that's why they said at the very beginning, we got him. I mean, they found his hand.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, break, and then we'll come back, finish it up for the 9 o'clock hour here on the Dave Elswick Show. 10 o'clock hour, Razorback Zach will wrap it up with us here on the Dave Elswick Show.
I'm Ferenc Toth, host of the Your Personal Bank Show. I use common sense as an entrepreneur, financial literacy educator, and speaker to understand how current events affect our money, our economy, and our freedom. Grow your money safely, reduce taxes, increase returns, and create positive arbitrage with Your Personal Bank. Tune in to the Your Personal Bank Show Saturdays at 1 p.m. or contact Ferenc at yourpersonalbank.com. The Your Personal Bank Show Saturdays at 1 p.m. on 101.1 The Answer.
Don't miss out on the latest news. Operation Epic Fury is here, and we're giving you the inside information. Make sure you're listening for all the details on Operation Epic Fury, right here on 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and like listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine like if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But, try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
For decades, Dennis Prager shared his wisdom with listeners around the world through his lectures, courses, interviews, and debates. Now, for the first time, the collective wisdom of Dennis Prager is being made available as a podcast. Listen to Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager, with new episodes released for a limited time only as a podcast. Subscribe for free today at DennisPrager.com. That's Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager, exclusively at DennisPrager.com. America is at a tipping point. To ensure we stay the land of the free and home of the brave, you need to be informed and engaged. That's why we're here. 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. The Dave Elswick Show continues now. 101.1 The Answer.
I have another little polling story that I want to share with you, and I want to share it with Robert too.
Mm-hmm.
CNN has been doing pretty well at reporting the poll numbers lately. They got rid of a lot of the people who had Trump syndrome, and you're not hearing Trump orange man bad,
Right.
all that kind of stuff. So Harry Enton, who does their polling, reported this. Republicans love Donald Trump more than any president's own party supporters loved him at this particular point. Take a look at the polling numbers. Here we go. Own party supporters, 21st century presidents, own party approval about it at this point in the second term. Bush was at 77%. Obama was at 77%. But look at this. 86% of Republicans approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing at this point. That is higher than either Obama or Bush had within their own party at this point. Trump's magic touch has not seemed to wear off yet when it comes to the Republican base. That's pretty amazing.
What do you think is going to happen in Texas? Did you see that Cornyn, the sitting U.S. senator who's been in the Senate for years, and I worked with his staff very closely, he was
He may
challenged.
lose his seat.
Right. He was challenged by the Attorney General of Paxton of Texas, and they're now in a runoff. There was someone else in the race, right?
Yeah,
So now
he didn't
Right.
have a percentage to stay in it.
Right. And so sort of like we've been discussing, they do it like we do. Now you got to get a majority. So they're going to have a runoff election. I was surprised. I didn't follow it. And then I heard Paxton challenged Cornyn. Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big
he's
deal.
the AG, isn't he?
That's correct.
All right. So the people know who he is.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's been in the news a lot.
Oh, yeah.
For the state of Texas. And it amazes me, the Democrats, they're running somebody in the House who beat Crockett. Thank God for that. But, so there'll be a big race between them for a congressional seat. And I look at, first of all, I think it was 20-something% voted for Crockett. how can you vote for somebody that's that nuts?
I don't. Who's Crockett? What's the story of Crockett?
Jasmine Crockett.
Okay.
She is a she's literally who's the lady in the House that's always mouthing off and is just nuts?
AOC or Jasmine Crockett?
No, neither one of them. She's it's
Maxine Waters?
Maxine Waters. Thank you. Maxine Waters.
Yeah, I'm just going to go down the list of crazy liberals.
She's really, really crazy. And, you know, if you like her, you're going to like Crockett, because Crockett is the same way. Although Crockett sounds a little bit more educated than Waters does. So why would you vote for a woman like that? That's crazy. Of course, some of that is race politics. You know, black people voting for their black person. I got over that a long time ago. All right. I don't care if you're, Asian, or you're, round eye or what. I'm gonna vote for the person who I think is the smartest and most credible conservative that I can get behind.
Of course.
And that's what I do.
Of course.
But we've got such a race hangover in America. We really do. I mean, it's like when you talked about affirmative action, Robert, and we got rid of it. It was like people were saying, yeah, I don't like racism, but yeah, I support affirmative action. You can't do both.
Well, people don't like to give up their handouts. It's that simple. And so you get all sorts of resistance. Oh, this is not racism. It's helping people at the expense of whom?
Yeah, somebody else.
Right.
I mean, that's why, to be honest, Roberts hasn't said a lot since he's been Chief Justice that I agree with. But on this issue, he did, when he said you can't stop discrimination with discrimination. It's not possible.
Exactly right. Of course not. Right. I mean, it's just silly, right?
Yeah. And so, I've been against the whole thing about, you got to have so many black people, so many Asian people, so many this, so many that. And if you don't, then you got to get rid of so many whites to make up for the amount of blacks. No. I mean, it's wrong, like they did in Tennessee when they were trying to fill all the vacancies for the state troopers over there a few years back. And what they did is they said, well, we need more black officers. So if you're a black person and you want to put in to be a state trooper, we're going to give you a 300-point inducement.
Well,
become a cop.
That's how affirmative action has often operated throughout the country, right? It's inherently unfair. It's inherently race or sex based.
It's wrong to keep a person out of a job because of their skin color. I mean, if push comes to shove, it's whoever is the most the candidate who can do the best job that should get the job.
That's right. And in the paper, the article that I co-authored that was cited by the U.S. Supreme Court, Justice Thomas's concurrence, ending affirmative action in that case. My co-author and I wrote about how affirmative action in law schools across the country actually hurts those people that are the alleged beneficiaries because they wind up going to a school that's not well suited for them.
Well, they bleed the black students to go to school, and then they get out of school and they can't pass the bar exam, so they can't practice law. So how did you help them?
The failure rate on the bar exam for the group that I examined over a 10-year period from my school, but also other groups, but specifically from my school, the failure rate for the black students who inevitably were admitted that way was double of the whites.
We're out of time. We always run out of time. Damn it. Drives me crazy. All right. Thanks a lot, Robert.
My pleasure as always.
Appreciate it. Razorback Zach is here, looking like Rambo on the Dave Elswick Show.
Or watch us at snc.tv. KDXE, Kamak Village, Little Rock.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump says nothing short of unconditional surrender by Iran is acceptable to the U.S. The declaration comes as American and Israeli forces show no mercy to Iran's military-backed dictatorship.
Israeli airstrikes are pounding the capitals of Iran and Lebanon as the US apparently struck an Iranian drone carrier at sea, intensifying its campaign targeting the Islamic Republic's warships. Iran launched new retaliatory attacks early Friday against neighboring countries that host US forces. There have been no immediate reports of casualties. Tehran has warned of the destruction of the Middle East's military and economic infrastructure, and the war has rattled financial markets. The latest strikes mark a full week of attacks affecting countries across the Middle East. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
And some of the Americans trapped in the Mideast have managed to get back home, arriving at San Francisco International Airport. Kelly DeGarmo tells KGO News that her group had to try for multiple flights before finally getting one that wasn't canceled.
Getting stuck there. We had a flight on Sunday, canceled, Monday canceled, Tuesday canceled. And we have flights for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday still that we have to cancel. Everybody was very, very kind. We were told that we were very safe. The hotels were kind.
She arrived home on a flight from Dubai. February's job cuts caught the experts off guard. The Labor Department says employers shed 92,000 employees last month. Economists had been predicting 50,000 jobs added. The February unemployment rate holding steady at approximately 4.4%. On Wall Street this morning, stocks are sharply lower in the wake of that jobs report, as well as the ongoing war in the Mideast. The Dow down 512 points. The Nasdaq is off 183. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Have you noticed losing weight is harder than it used to be? You're eating better and exercising, but the scale barely moves? The real problem isn't willpower, it's metabolic dysfunction. And standard dieting just makes it worse. PhD Weight Loss has helped thousands fix the root cause of stubborn weight. Take their free metabolic assessment at fixmyweightloss.com. Fixmyweightloss.com. It's quick, personalized, and shows why your body is resisting weight loss, so you know exactly what to fix. Visit fixmyweightloss.com. That's fixmyweightloss.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Indonesia will ban social media for kids under 16. The country's communication and digital affairs minister says she has signed a government regulation that will mean the under 16 crowd can no longer have accounts on high-risk digital platforms including YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and X, among others. Implementation of the rule will start gradually on the 28th of the month. The government says it's helping parents to fight online dangers to their children. Hungary says it has detained 7 Ukrainians working for a state bank and has seized armored vehicles loaded with cash, setting off a sharp dispute with Kiev. Hungarian customs officials say they've opened a money laundering case. Ukraine's foreign minister calls the detentions state terrorism, accusing Hungary of taking the bank employees hostage. Ukraine's state bank says the shipment included millions in dollars and euros plus gold. News and analysis, townhall.com. Marcia, your house. It's a historic landmark.
The LA City Council has voted unanimously to designate the so-called Brady Bunch house in the San Fernando Valley as a historic cultural monument. The vote grants landmark protections to the house on Dilling Avenue that was used for exterior shots of the TV sitcom that ran from 1969 to 1974. Interior scenes were shot on a soundstage with sets that bore no resemblance to the property that became a photo op magnet for Brady Bunch fans. The landmark status This protects the home built in 1959 from demolition or major renovation, but doesn't prohibit them. Keith Peters reporting.
Clocks will skip ahead 1 hour at 2 a.m. Sunday. It's daylight saving time in most of the U.S., creating a 23-hour day that throws off sleep schedules, plunges early morning dog walks into darkness, and inspires millions of complaints. More on these stories, townhall.com.
All right, back with you. Last hour here on the Dave Elswick Show on a Friday. I've got Razorback Zach here. Glad to have him back in the seat. He had missed last week, but it's good to have him back in with us here on the Dave Elswick Show. Let's start talking right now about the basketball team.
As long as we don't talk about the Florida game, we're good.
The regular season is coming rapidly to an end, and then we'll be, bullseyeing the tournament, and then it's the big dance.
Oh yeah. So you've got one game left. Most of the conferences are wrapping up their regular seasons this Saturday. We've got Missouri, 11 a.m. at Missouri. We've wrapped up our homestand. So
we handled them very easily at Bud One.
We did. But then I believe next Thursday is when the SEC tournament starts, and you're not going to get the top four. I don't think you might get a first round bye, and that's okay as long as you're not having to play all 5 days. I think we'll be all right. Plus, if you're a lock for the tournament, I really don't think you need to be in the SEC tournament anyway. But that's my opinion of the whole thing. But once you get to the SEC tournament, then you get Selection Sunday, and that's when the fun begins.
Well, yeah, that's what most people live for. Before we go on the show, we lost a great coach here in just the last few days, and of course that was Lou Holtz.
Lou Holtz, his time at Arkansas kind of gets overlooked if you think about it, just because of the success that he had at South Carolina and Notre Dame. But he had an impact on Razorback football. This was one of his jobs that he wanted. A lot of great players came out from underneath Lou Holtz's leadership. But one of the things I like about him was the quotes that he had. Some of the quotes that he used were so great that they made a book. The university made a book of them in the after his tenure. And my buddy's got one. He's going to let me borrow it. So I'm excited about that.
It's pretty cool, huh?
Oh, yeah. And everybody knows Lou Holtz because of his little sparring with Mark May on College Football Game Day. But mostly when you think of Lou Holtz, you think of the 88 championship with Notre Dame.
Yeah,
you think of South Carolina.
Wasn't he at Notre Dame when they had the big brouhaha with Miami?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep. The Catholics versus convicts. Yep. He was there. And he kind of reinvigorated Notre Dame. So if I'm a Notre Dame fan, I'm thanking Lou Holtz for how they are today, because without him, they wouldn't be in the situation that they've been in the last couple of years in the playoffs and getting the notoriety that they've had here as of late. Because, think about it this way. Look at it in terms of Razorback sports. If we didn't have Nolan, if we didn't have Eddie, we wouldn't be known for the 40 Minutes of Hell. We wouldn't have had the 94 championship, and so on forth and so on. So Notre Dame got reinvigorated when Lou Holtz was there. And that's it. That was his dream job.
So let me ask, you are excited because you've heard that the Razorback administration is going to put up a statue.
They announced it the night of the Texas game. They announced it at halftime that there is a statue finally being put up of Nolan Richardson holding the 94 championship plaque out in front of Bud Walton Arena. And it's 20 years.
Been a long time.
It's been 20. They should have done it 20 years ago. But here's my my negative opinion about that.
Okay.
I think that's Hunter Yurachek saving face. Because
really?
Well, I mean, we've talked about it on here. Look at how many times he's fumbled NIL, and look at all the black eyes that he's given Arkansas. So I look at it as him appeasing the fan base, because we've been wanting a statue of him out front for years.
Well, it took years for him to name the court after him.
Yeah, look at the football field. The football field is Frank Broyles Field, and he's got a statue. You have to do the same thing for
the man who took your basketball program to the pinnacle.
And I'm going to say this right now, Dave. When DVH brings home that title this June, there's going to be a statue out in front of Baum Walker for Dave Van Horn.
Should be.
There should be.
There really should be. Or maybe they'll get a female statue in front of the women's fast pitch softball field.
That one's going to be coming. Who would you put up there though? That's who.
The lady that's there right now
is
doing the job.
Yeah. There's one out in front of the track for John McDonald, because he put the track team and the track program on the map.
Yep.
But I'm excited to see this statue, and it's well deserved. Yay for the court. I'm all for that. That was a proud moment, because I was there the night they unveiled it.
Yeah.
But that statue, that's going to look really good out in front of Bud Walton.
No, that's good. I'm glad that you're doing it. I really am. He took a program that was so and made it into a juggernaut.
Oh yeah, MC and I talk a lot about the basketball team around this time of year. He eats, sleeps, and breathes Razorback basketball. I mean, he is all about it. And we've done some special episodes on our YouTube channel and on our podcast channel about the basketball team, and he and I both agree, had Eddie Sutton not been here, there would be no Nolan Richardson. But on top of that, the 1990 Final Four team is what set the table for the 94 championship. If that team would have never made the Final Four, we don't know if we'd have been there 94 and 95. But we go over all that in those episodes, and they're up on our podcast channel and our YouTube channel.
Last weekend was the 50th anniversary of the only team that has had an undefeated season and an undefeated tournament in college basketball.
And who was that, Dave?
Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Hoosiers. Yeah.
I'd do it, but we'd have to turn the mic down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I got to tell you, that still has stood the test of time. 50 years.
Yeah, and nobody else has done it.
Nobody's done it now. Who's undefeated right now?
I don't think there's anybody undefeated.
I think there's one team, if I'm not mistaken. I forget who it is. Is Miami undefeated?
I don't know. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick.
And, it will be difficult to be undefeated.
Wow, I did not see that coming.
Who was it?
Miami of Ohio.
Okay.
The Red Hawks are the only remaining undefeated team in Division I basketball, boasting a 30-0 record.
So they're going to make the big dance, but now they got to play all the big boys. In the tournament.
They had and according to Google here, it says they achieved that record despite not playing any ranked opponents.
Oh, okay. So when that lets me, it's like when I talk about the Miami Dolphins being undefeated. I keep reminding people that was during the time when they really played football.
Oh yeah, that was the heyday of football. Not what they're trying to do now. But
I mean, when players really did go out on the field and try to hurt each other.
Yeah. So you said that the 75-76 Indiana Hoosiers were 32-0, but you also had Gonzaga, Kentucky, and Wichita State all have undefeated regular seasons.
Right.
So Gonzaga did it in 2020. Kentucky did it in 2014, and then Wichita State did it that same year.
The Shockers. I like Wichita State, although they've never been able to replace that one coach that they had.
What was his name? I can't remember.
I forget, but he was a wild man on the sidelines. And
I'd watch those games just to see his reaction.
He reminded me of the coach that used to be the head coach of Marquette and went on to be a great color commentator. And he was crazy on the sidelines as well.
I can see his face. It's not Mark. Is it Mark something?
Nah, I'm at a loss right now. Okay. A lot of water under the bridge since I was born. Just so you know. And I can't his last name started with an M though, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, and he was a great coach. Coach Marquette many years in a row, and they always had.
You talking about Rick Majoris?
Nope, not him. I could see him.
Buzz Williams was the head coach down there.
Yeah, that's too soon. If you want to go back to the 80s. Who was the head coach of Marquette in the 80s?
Rick Majoris was 83 to 86.
Okay.
Hank Raymonds was 77 to 83. Bob Duquette was 86 to 89, and then Kevin O'Neill was 89 to 94.
Well, then maybe he was during the late 90s. I'm not sure.
Tom Crean?
Nope. No, he came to Indiana and laid an egg.
Yeah,
I thought he was a real get when the Hoosiers got him. And
Shaka Smart's up there now at Marquette.
Yeah. Well, he left Texas.
Yeah, he left Texas
because he went to play in the big leagues and got his butt kicked.
Well, I mean, it's a different animal.
I agree.
The league is a different animal, man.
I agree. You don't get to play a lot of
that's why
teams that you probably can win during the time. It's Al something.
Oh, hang on. Al McGuire.
There you go.
64 to 77.
There you go. All right. Al McGuire was a great coach at Marquette, and he was a real wild man.
He was 295 and 80 at Marquette.
Yeah.
295 and 80. He was there 13 years. Holy cow.
Yeah, great coach. Really was. And he was a great color commentator. He was a lot like who's the diaper dandy guy?
Which one?
Yeah, but the one that he termed that diaper dandy and all the rest. He just came back this year. He had cancer.
Dick Vitale.
Yeah, Vitale. I mean, he was that kind of analyst that he had coached the game so much that and he was honest on the air about what he had to say.
Yeah.
About teams, players, and coaches. That's why I liked watching him.
Well, I mean, you've got guys like Lee Corso for game day. You've got Dick Vitale for college basketball. Guys that have actually been on the floor coaching and played.
Corso is done. He's too old now. I mean,
Vitale's getting up there too.
Vitale. I
got a feeling. Look, Dave,
I wonder if this will be his last year.
I got a feeling they're going to wheel him out in a hospital bed.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. He'll be the Strom Thurmond of college basketball, like Strom Thurmond was when he was in the Senate. I mean, they brought him in on they carried him in to vote one time.
Oh, wow.
From a hospital bed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Strom was, he showed up for votes. I'll say that. All right, 18 after 10. Let's take a quick break. Then we're going to come back with the Wild Man here on the Dave Elswick Show. I agree with what he said. It is time that Nolan Richardson got his claim to fame because the Razorbacks haven't won another college basketball championship since he stood on the side of the court.
Right. Haven't even come close. But, Dave, I want to tease something before we go to break. There's another big story that broke involving NIL and the University of Arkansas.
Oh, well, we'll hear it when we come back here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Things just cost more.
Cars, phones, life insurance.
Your blood pressure is up.
Your weight is up.
You're one to talk.
I have type 2 diabetes, so I'm getting dinged just like you.
Thank goodness for Big Lou.
Big Lou!
Big Lou can get term life insurance rates for a 50-year-old male with type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, or maybe he's on anxiety meds for just around $200 a month for $1 million of coverage.
Oh, you got to say that again.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll say it. Big Lou and Term Provider could get a 50-year-old man, a little dinged up, $1 million in life insurance for around $200 a month.
Call Big Lou.
Big Lou!
you. He's like you.
800-555-2085. That's 800-555-2085.
Don't put it off. If you're overweight, diabetic, have high blood pressure, you gotta call Big Lou.
Gotta.
800-555-2085.
Write it down.
800-555-2085.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
You can watch the show right now. The Dave Elswick Show is streaming live on Facebook. This is 101.1, The Answer.
All right, back with you. I really don't go anywhere during the breaks, okay? I'm just sitting
Except
in
for
my
get a
chair.
donut.
Hey. Don't knock donuts now.
Calling him out.
Oh, yeah.
Don't knock donuts now.
I like fat nuts. Yeah, I'm big on that stuff.
I like money nuts.
Yeah, I like that
No.
too.
I'm leaving both of those alone.
Y'all need to put like dollar bills shaped like donuts in there, and I take them.
There you go.
Hertz Donuts does that. Hertz Donuts, and then there's one.
What do they put quarters in the donuts like a baby or something?
No, it's just dollar signs.
Oh, I mean a real money, Zach. Real money.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want no donut. I want the money.
All right. Well, Zach has a story for us.
Uh-oh.
So the other day, March 4th, story broke from the University of Arkansas. Tyson Foods and the University of Arkansas have announced an expanded partnership. And basically what that means, and it's all across all 19 sports from the University of Arkansas. And what that basically means is Tyson is gonna have their logo on every court, every field, in the on campus, and on every jersey that the players wear. It's one of the first of their kind. And I don't. Here's my problem, Dave. Is I don't want it to end up like NASCAR when the jerseys are covered in different logos and stuff like that. I get it. That's where we're headed. But I don't like this idea. If you're going to do it, just do it on the courts. Don't make them put the logo on the jerseys. That kind of takes away from the symbolism of the jersey.
Well, you kind of end up having NASCAR.
That's right. Yeah. You're going to end up being like NASCAR.
Yeah. And that's kind of crazy. I agree with you on that. And
I don't know if you heard it. They let it slip on another station that the naming rights have been informally, I'm going to say that word very loosely, sorted out, where they have a new name. They're keeping it hush hush, but I'm hoping they're not going to do what I think they're going to do with this partnership and name it Tyson Razorback Stadium.
Okay, why would you want a chicken run?
That
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, but yeah, and it doesn't have a nice ring about
No,
it.
it's gross. It makes me think of slimy chicken.
It doesn't roll off the tongue, and I hope, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong,
start a rumor.
Well, no, I'm basing an opinion. I am stating an opinion. I'm gonna be
getting all little boisterous over there, moving his foot around on the ground like a little kid.
Praying I'm wrong on this, though. I really am. It doesn't. Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium.
You can't put a chicken and a Razorback in the same sentence. It don't go. It don't flow.
Well,
I mean, it's Tyson, but everyone sees chicken when you see Tyson. I just did. I literally just saw chicken.
They do have Razorback chicken nuggets.
That's stupid.
Whoa. They got Dallas Cowboy ones too, but there's a choking hazard.
I don't like the Cowboys anyway, so I get that. They choke.
There you go. No, but I like it, but at the same time, and it helps NIL.
What are Razorback chicken nuggets?
They're like chicken nuggets about this big, but they're shaped in the form of a Razorback.
Good Lord.
Hey, don't knock them.
They'll sell anything.
And my idiot self will buy a bag.
You and a bunch of other idiots selves.
Well, they don't call me Razorback Jack for nothing.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I understand that Tyson's does a lot for the Razorback.
Well, and Dave, we wouldn't have John Calipari if it weren't for John Tyson. He's the one that actually went over to Kentucky and went, hey.
So go name a building after yourself.
They do that. Stadium. I mean, the Waltons, the Jones.
Maybe call it him. What's his name? John. What'd you say?
John Tyson?
Yeah. Oh. Well, it's still in there.
I mean, would you rather it be a Walmart stadium?
No.
Great Value Razorback Stadium?
No. No.
No, and like I said, it had nothing. And again, I want to stress this: nothing official has come out about the naming rights. This is all conjecture. This is all my own opinion. So don't, please take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But what this means is they're the official protein of the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Protein?
Yeah.
Or protein?
Protein. You're going to have placement on all the fields and courts. They're going to be on the media backdrop for when coaches do press conferences. And they're going to have a brand ambassador program for the student athletes. I don't know. This might be good. I don't know, but I'm a little leery about it. I think this is Hunter Yurichek's grasping at straws right now. He's on everybody's
doo-doo list.
Yeah.
Say it that way.
Yeah, we'll say it that way.
He's on the doo-doo list.
He's on the naughty list of all of us Razorback fans.
That's true.
Well,
but he's done quite a bit for Razorback sports.
Yeah, he has. But the problem is, Dave, is all the negative stuff that he's done for the Razorbacks.
Well, his big problem
that's outweighing and that's outshining everything else.
When he started talking about NIL and how the Razorbacks couldn't compete on NIL money.
Yeah, when he made that comment at the Little Rock Touchdown Club, that I feel like that kind of did him in. And you can say it, but don't say it publicly. And number two, don't say it in front of some of your biggest freaking donors in the state.
Yeah. Because then they start thinking, can I put my money in a better place?
Exactly. They're like, okay, so if we're not set up, why am I giving money? On top of all of that, you're reseeding Razorback Stadium, you've reseeded Bud Walton, and you've reseeded Baum Walker. Now, I will say this: the video board that they put up, we talked about this a couple weeks ago about the video board at Baum Walker. I won't lie.
By the way,
I won't lie. It looks pretty good out there.
Before we talk about that, I noticed something at Baum Walker that I asked you about several weeks back. Was when they were going to get rid of the berm and go to seats. And now they've got seats out.
They've got bleachers out there. Yeah, they've always had bleachers back there against the back fence line.
But now you don't get to sit on your blanket and watch.
You do.
What they give you, a 6-foot little thing?
No, you can spread out. They're not going to take that away because that's what makes Baum Walker Stadium. That's the atmosphere. The sad part about it, though, those bleachers is designated the student section. Why would you put them all the way back there?
because you charge too much in the seats up front.
True. I promise I'm not crapping on the Razorbacks. I'm just a loyal fan, and I love them. And they're some of the things that they do and some of the decisions they make in the upper echelons just not very smart.
Well, from now, I mean, let's all be really honest. The universities and the professional teams, the sports aren't for just us.
Not anymore.
If you want a good seat, you watch it on television. That's just
Absolutely
the way it is. All right, a break, and then we got more coming your way after the news.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump says nothing short of unconditional surrender by Iran is acceptable to the U.S. The declaration comes as American and Israeli forces show no mercy to Iran's military-backed dictatorship, as the U.S. warns that attacks on Iran will intensify now that the war has hit the 1-week mark. Though it was a difficult ordeal because of repeated flight cancellations, some of the Americans trapped in the Middle East have managed to make it back home. Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma says he's excited at the prospect of serving as the next Homeland Security Secretary nominated to that post by President Trump. Labor Department says employers shed some 92,000 jobs last month. On Wall Street, the Dow down 541 points. The Nasdaq is off 209 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Have you noticed losing weight is harder than it used to be? You're eating better and exercising, but the scale barely moves? The real problem isn't willpower, it's metabolic dysfunction. And standard dieting just makes it worse. PhD Weight Loss has helped thousands fix the root cause of stubborn weight. Take their free metabolic assessment at fixmyweightloss.com. Fixmyweightloss.com. It's quick, personalized, and shows why your body is resisting weight loss, so you know exactly what to fix. Visit fixmyweightloss.com. That's fixmyweightloss.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Did you hear Congressman Bruce Westerman on the Dave Elswick Show?
I've gotten input from constituents about, they don't like this. They don't like endless wars. They don't want Americans dying over there anymore. But the question you got to ask is, what does that mean for the future? Do you go fight this war right now and you cut the head off of the snake right now, or you wait and the war comes to us, or it's a much bigger war and there's a lot more at risk and at stake in the future? So again, I think this is long overdue, and I think every effort was made to try to do it through negotiations. And I think the history with Iran and the Ayatollah is they negotiate, and they never make a deal. And if they make a deal, it's always to their advantage. And Trump doesn't play like that.
Don't miss Congressman Westerman, Wednesday mornings at 7:30 on the Dave Elswick Show, 101.1. The Answer.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
We just kind of knew from the beginning that we were family.
They showcased a sense of love that I never had before. I mean, he's not only my parent, he's like my best friend.
At the end of the day, it's all been worth it. I wouldn't change a thing about our lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council. We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. It was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age. Everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Did you hear Congressman French Hill on the Dave Elswick Show?
In the short Israeli-U.S. attack last summer, just gone back into the business of enriching uranium, working on a nuclear bomb, expanding their ballistic missiles, and supporting the Russians killing Ukrainians. You get the picture. And they showed no willingness whatsoever to negotiate over the last few months with Trump's people. So I think Trump said, look, they're not going to quit trying to get a nuclear weapon. And so I think he just thought this was the moment of maximum weakness. In the last year, we have reinstituted the Trump maximum campaign on sanctions. Trump made a commitment he was going to back the Iranian people. History and recent events has led him to the decision he took.
Don't miss Congressman Hill, Wednesday mornings at 7 on the Dave Elswick Show, 101.1. The Answer. Dave Elswick is the conservative voice of Arkansas, and he's back. 101.1, The Answer.
All right, back with you. We have 25 minutes left for the Dave Elswick Show on this Friday. Razorback Zach is going to be with us until 11 o'clock. You going to bring him back next week? Okay.
If he's nice.
Okay, so Val's filling in.
That's
for
debatable.
me.
It depends on how the week goes.
Yeah, she's filling.
You behave yourself.
She's filling in for me next week. Our owner did a nice thing. I have to give them credit. Is that they sent out a message and they gave everybody another day off with pay.
Mm-hmm.
And
I thought that was awesome.
You just have to do it during this month.
Mm-hmm.
And so next week I'm going to go see Banana Ball.
Nice.
And
I want to go so bad. I'm
and
getting
so-
a press pass somehow.
So I'm going to sit out there, and I'm taking a day off on Friday, leading me into that weekend.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's a good way to start the weekend.
Going to be fun. And I got a couple that is good friends of ours, and I had 2 pairs of tickets, and I called them the other night and left them a message saying, "Hey, do you want to go see Banana Ball?" That's the fastest they've ever come back with an answer. I mean, it was like, yes.
Because that's good
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
It is.
It's good stuff.
It's going to be fun.
It
It's
is.
going to be fun. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. And look, I'm one of those guys that's I believe in playing baseball like the old time baseball was played. All right. I don't like some of the new rules. I don't like going into extra innings and you put a man on second base. I don't like that stuff. I like it that you got to earn it. And
What do you think about the shift?
You know, I don't care for that either, but it's a legitimate thing to do. You know what? You're a professional. If you're a batter, learn how to hit to the opposite field.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
For me, it was just learning how to hit the ball.
And
not let the ball hit you.
Hand and eye coordination, yes.
Not one of my strong suits. No, Dave, I'm going to go with I don't think so.
All right. Well,
What is it? What is it from 2001: A Space Odyssey? I don't think so, Dave.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And he just said, "Cram it, Hal."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I want to say about AI. Just cram it. You're wrong sometimes. Admit it.
Yeah.
Admit it.
Sometimes you're wrong.
I like how they say that AI has fever dreams. It's like, what? What is a fever dream?
You know what? I don't want to know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't like the sound of that.
Really crazy.
No, you're talking about AI. If you watch the NFL this year, where they use the measurement for the first down marker.
Yeah,
I have a feeling AI is fixing to take over sports too.
Well,
because they've already done it in Major League Baseball, haven't they? With the replays, not TrackMan, it's the other thing that they use in the pros.
The stat thing.
Yeah.
Here's the key: umpires are always going to be behind catchers. All right, they're always going to be there calling balls and strikes. But I think that next year we're going to see the umpires wearing a watch like the pitchers do when they see what pitch they're supposed to throw.
Like the pitch comms?
Yeah, and it's going to be on there. And before they call strikes or balls, they're going to look at it.
See, I don't know if I like that, Dave.
And it's going to tell them whether it's a strike or a ball.
Now, again, I lean more into the sport of football than I do basketball or baseball. But that human intelligence. I say intelligence. They're umpires. That's part of the game, though, isn't it? I mean, yelling at an umpire for missing a call.
Yes and no. I mean,
that's why I hate reviews in baseball.
Let's not forget. Yeah, but you had to have the replay.
Human error.
I mean,
that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah,
human error.
If you can get human error out of it with as much money as is in it with bonuses and everything else for as far as you go into playoffs and stuff, then that's well and good. But when you have an umpire at first base and blows a call at first base, like in the Kansas City St. Louis game a few years ago, you gotta have something.
Well, and I get that. And you have to have something that's fair across the board. I understand that. But that human error is part of the game of baseball, because it's going to come a day when you're just going to be screaming at a computer. Or don't we do that half the time already?
Yeah, I just know.
I mean,
when you want, you get all that stuff on, football too, the replays on footballs, and some things that they say is not, you can't debate a call on certain things. And I go, why? Why won't they?
Why can you debate it on one thing, but you can't on the other?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you cannot debate a holding call.
It's like basketball. You go back and you review something that happened 15 minutes ago on a shot, but you can't review a foul call.
Yeah.
And you can't review,
I agree.
Or a walk or a call that you made.
Yeah.
That happened 30 seconds ago.
I'm with you, brother.
And again, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm not trying to be negative Nancy today, I promise. Some of the things in sports now, it just kind of irks me a little bit. It kind of just takes away from the joy of the sport.
Well, what irks me is that for the average fan can't afford for one person to spend close to $1,000 to go see a baseball game.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I remember when it was 50 cents to get into the bleachers at Wrigley.
Well, I mean, dude, look at it from. I mean, we've talked about it several times. Trying to get to a Razorback game will cost you up, and especially if you're a season ticket holder, almost $5,000 total.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You're pricing out the average fan.
Of course you are.
They've
done that for a long time.
That is the heart and soul of the fan base. And there's arguments all over social media, Dave, about who's a real fan and who's a true fan. And dude, if you're a fan, nonetheless, whether you go or not, that doesn't make a difference. Some people can't go because they can't afford to go.
Some people can't go because, they have disabilities and they can't go.
True. But at the same time, these reseatings of all these stadiums and the ballparks, most ignorant thing ever.
Well, it drives me crazy when I look. And the reason I know about this is because Dr. Brown, my dentist, he doesn't have a practice here in Little Rock anymore. He's up there in Northwest Little Rock. Was a hardcore Razorback fan. I mean, hardcore. And he was complaining, and this is several years back, about how much money he had to pay to be able to pay to buy tickets. You had to pay the foundation X amount of money.
Yeah.
So that you could buy a ticket to go see a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
You still have to do that. But the thing is the more money you give to the foundation, the better seats you supposedly have. That's not all the way true. You have to pay more for your season ticket and pay more to the foundation. And some of these guys that have been season ticket holders for 50, 60 years, been paying, $1,400, $1,500, are now paying upwards of $20,000 to $50,000.
That's crazy.
Why?
It was the same way with the Super Bowl this year.
Oh my goodness.
How can you, in all honesty, charge $6,000 for a seat?
People will pay it.
I know.
Even if that'll be and some people, that will be the only game they ever go to, but they get to say, I went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree.
I watched the Super Bowl from the comfort of my own home.
Yeah, so do I. And I'm on the 50-yard. In
Didn't
fact,
pay a dime.
I'm standing on the field.
Didn't pay a dime.
Yeah.
Except for my cable bill.
To watch the game. I agree.
But most people nowadays are going to be watching it from the house because it's easier that way. You don't want that. You want the heart and I call them the heart and soul of the fan base, the hardworking blue collar fans that get to go to maybe 1 or 2 games a year. You know, that's where your passionate fans are.
You want the fan that'll sit in rain, snow, whatever to see.
I have froze my tail off at baseball games. I have sat in pouring down rain at War Memorial for a blowout loss to Ole Miss. I have sat in blazing heat for football. It doesn't matter.
But I agree with you. There's something different about being there when the crowd is all jacked up and everything, and is screaming and hollering than it is sitting in your living room. My wife complains to me because I jacked the sound up real loud.
Same. But then again, I live by myself, but I'm still screaming and hollering at the TV
because I want the feeling of what's going on at the stadium.
Yeah. And you want to be a part of that though, too. And that's the thing is when the vibe that you see on TV of the crowd and then actually being there
does not
translate at all. I've watched Razorback football games from the house before, and I've also been at Razorback Stadium during a game. Does not compare.
Well, it's like going to see the Razorback basketball team. There's a huge difference between watching it on TV and being at Bud Walton.
And I'll even take the blame for this. I've been wanting to go on my podcast and even come on here and complain that the crowd was quiet. And it wasn't the case. It was just the way that the broadcast was.
Right.
Because I was at the Kentucky game in Bud Walton. That crowd was loud from the beginning to the end, no matter how bad it was, because it was terrible on all sides of the ball.
Well, they get down by 17. Oh my God.
But they were in it. They were juiced. It was great. It was a fantastic crowd. Sometimes ESPN or SEC Network, they don't capture that.
Well, they turn down the ambient microphone.
Yeah, you want to hear Jimmy Dykes talk the entire time. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that in my soul, Dave.
Yeah. I get tired of a lot. He uses the same phraseology
NASCAR
all
cut.
the time. You
ever heard him say that NASCAR cut?
Yeah. I mean, he really does. I mean, he just uses the same phraseology a lot, and it gets old.
He reminds me, there was another one. Bill Walton was the same way a couple years ago when he called a Razorback game. Completely off the wall commentary. Didn't even have anything to do with the game.
Well, that's because he's known for being off the wall in real life, or was known.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. When he played with Boston and stuff, known to be nuts. I mean, he was a tree hugger when he went to UCLA.
Well, it is UCLA.
Yeah, I'm just saying. He was raised in a state that is so liberal that their brains ran out of their ears. It's just, Walton was the same way. He'd ride his bicycle downtown to the Lakers Stadium. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, no, I know most of Razorback Nation can't stand Jimmy Dykes, but the average fan, that like I said, and I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. The average blue collar fan is the heart and soul of your fan base, whether it's a pro team or whether it's one of your collegiate teams, especially here in Arkansas.
All right, we're down to where we're getting out of time, but before we do that, let's find out from Razorback Zach. You give us the temperature of the Razorback baseball team.
It's early in the season still, and you had about a week where you had guys that had the flu. Baseball is going to be just fine. They're going to be okay. They're going to Omaha. I don't think we got anything to worry about.
All right. Does the softball team have pitching to get to the World Series?
I hope so. I haven't checked them out yet, but I plan to.
I've been watching a lot of fast pitch softball on ESPN because they carry a ton of games.
Yeah.
And the other night I was watching who who was it that they were playing? It wasn't LSU, but anyway, it was Lamar. Houston. It was Houston that they were playing. Lamar against Houston, and I'm telling you what, watch out for Lamar. They've gotten to the regional several times over the last few years.
and Courtney Deifel's going to have this team ready to play come conference time, and same with Dave Van Horn. I'm not concerned. The only concern I have up there right now is that football team.
Do we go back to Omaha, do you think?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think this is the year. Do we
finally get to go to Oklahoma City?
That one is TBD. I don't want to put too much faith in there yet, but I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, with as popular as the Razorback ladies fast pitch team, and as popular as they are in that they're winning and they're competitive, I'm surprised that they haven't brought in some really big time arms to pitch.
I think she's getting there. She's had a couple in the circle that are pretty good.
Who was the starter last year? She was great.
Oh, you would put me on the spot like that.
I mean, she had won countless games for the Lady Hawks.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up during the break.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk about it 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, I've been watching a lot of fast pitch. I like baseball. People know that. I happen to like fast pitch women's softball is because I used to call it. I won an award for best radio coverage of women's sports from the National Federation of Women's Sports.
Nice.
And because I thought if I was going to do baseball games, that the girls play just as tough and practice just as hard, that I should do fast pitch softball.
And they do. Don't mistake that. They do.
And that's what I did. So I covered them. Covered volleyball too. All right, a break here on the Dave Elswick Show.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Our Senators John Bozeman and Tom Cotton and Representative French Hill are standing up for radio listeners like us by supporting legislation to keep AM radio in cars. They know the value of local radio in times of emergency. Now it's time for Congress to finish the job and pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Learn more at dependonam.com. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
We bring you the biggest news stories of the day. Not to tell you what to think, but to allow you to have the most information so you can make up your mind. 101.1, The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. What if you could take 101.1 The Answer with you everywhere? You can. Download the 101.1 The Answer app and stay connected to the voices you trust, live and on demand. Wake up with Dave Elswick. Stay sharp with Doc Washburn. And hear from national voices like Chris DeGaulle, Scott Jennings, Hugh Hewitt, Larry Elder, and Mike Gallagher. Breaking news, bold opinions, local insight, national perspective, all in one place, all in your pocket, at work, in the car, on the go. If it matters to Arkansas and America, you'll hear it on 101.1 The Answer. Plus, stream us live anywhere. Catch up on podcasts and never miss a moment. Search 101.1 The Answer in your app store and download it today. 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Something big is happening and you need to be in the know. Operation Epic Fury is here and the only place to get all the details. Stay tuned and listen closely for updates on Operation Epic Fury on 101.1 The Answer, where Little Rock comes to talk. Now back to the Dave Elswick Show. 101.1 The Answer.
All right, back with you here on the Dave Elswick Show. All right, so you're feeling pretty spicy about the Razorback baseball team.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Dave, they've always been in the upper echelon of college baseball, so I don't foresee any reason, as long as they stay healthy, I don't foresee any reason why this team can't go to Omaha.
Okay, because I need them to get back to Omaha.
I just need them to win the title before,
that's something. I don't think winning the SEC title concerns Dave Van Horn all that much.
Well,
I watch how he plays the tournament.
Let's put it like this, Dave. When they look back at your legacy as a head coach,
they look at the national titles.
Exactly. They're not going to care how many division titles you've got. They're not going to care of
how many
conference,
how many semifinals.
They're going to look at and we've got and if anybody's not been to Baum Walker, y'all need to go, because there's a little museum or a little room right off the concourse there down the first baseline that has every trophy we've ever won in baseball.
There's a lot of them,
except for one.
I've
heard them say this. We have every baseball trophy there is, except the big one.
Yeah.
But I think this year, this is their best shot this year, and the team shows that they're a lot more together than most teams have been in the past around this time.
And I think Dave Van Horn, whenever he wins the national championship, a couple of weeks after he wins, he'll announce his retirement.
Oh yeah. I believe it.
He wants to be with his family and stuff.
I believe it.
Last question. The head coach of Tennessee, who went to be with the Giants.
I was going to bring this up too.
Tennessee baseball does not seem to have the same swagger that they had.
They don't, but do you account that to the new coach or the coach leaving?
Yeah, I think it's the coach that's leaving. I think that he brought out the best in his players.
I wouldn't necessarily call it the best, because they were known to be.
I'm not saying that he made them nice guys. I'm saying as far as playing the game,
right,
he brought out the best of them.
Well, and it's like anytime you ever switch coaches, it may be a year or two before you, or for Razorback fans in football, it might be 30 years and counting. But it may, like I said, it may be a year before he gets it under his belt. It's anything's possible. I just hope they don't win.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you got much to worry about them this year. They just don't seem to have all the pieces that they need.
No, I haven't seen how the other teams have played yet, so I really can't form an opinion as far as which team is the most dangerous. But I mean,
well, it seems to me what I hear on ESPN, Ole Miss is the team to play.
That's what bothers me. That's what bothers me, is that it's Ole Miss. We've got a heck of a rivalry with Ole Miss. So that if we end up playing them, that's going to be fun.
Well, it'd be good. They got to play during the regular season, don't they?
I think so. There's a couple of teams that weren't on our schedule this year. I don't know if they're one of them or not.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you go.
But we do start conference play next Saturday against Mississippi State.
There you go. Now that's not Ole Miss. There's a big difference between Mississippi State.
Don't get those two confused.
And Ole Miss. All right. As far as that, Ole Miss has been known for many years that they play good baseball.
Right. And we wrap up the regular season of basketball tomorrow, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Who are we playing?
Missouri.
The Tigers, who we handled fairly easily at Bud Walton, but we're not going to be at Bud Walton this time.
We're going to be at their place.
Yeah, so it might be more difficult. All right, let's take a break. I'll see you on the radio on Monday here on the Dave Elswick Show.
Woo pig.